Hello, everyone, and welcome to SmashBoxxTV podcast 547. Terry Miller next to Johnny V.
The season has officially started. We've got disc golf to talk about. We've got a little bit of news to talk about. We've got some players we're going to talk with.
Yeah, we're officially all in on it, even though it feels different for everybody depending on if you've been to New Zealand or if you're in some other exotic country or place, or if you've maybe even played one of 10 events offered in Arizona.
No, it's different.
Yeah, of course it's different, but I'm just saying.
This is our 10th season of the Pro Tour, Terry.
Oh, that's true.
10th season. This is the kickoff. This is the most exciting. All those other events are great and they're fun and they're wonderful experiences. The Pro Tour hits a little different.
Yeah, I guess that's for some. Yeah, we'll go with that.
For the players.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Well, we are lucky enough that not only did the Disc Golf Pro Tour season kick off just a few days ago, but the mastermind behind it all, who now just gets to lounge around and bask in the glory of his brilliance, looking good, doing all sorts of things. I don't know what kind of high-class society this guy's living in, but we love it. And we're going to welcome in tonight, Steve Dodge. Steve.
Hello there, Terry Miller.
Are we all here because of you?
We're all here because of
I think you muted yourself, Steve.
What's that?
Yeah, it looks like you muted.
Hold on. No, he didn't.
Johnny muted you.
I muted you.
It was going to be our best interview yet.
Yeah, no doubt.
You sure he's not still muted?
All right, hold on. Look, he deserves a better introduction than that.
Okay.
All right, hold on. Let's do this. Ready? We're going to do this one more time, Terry.
Okay. All right. With that being said, the Disc Golf Pro Tour is kicking off in 2025, and the mastermind and the good-looking fella behind it all, originally the best-looking guy, best-dressed guy, the most well-put-together guy, Steve Dodge, joins us now. How's that, Steve? How you doing tonight?
Terry Miller, do you remember in 2000 and I don't know what year it was, 9 or 10, and you interviewed me in the parking lot of some event, and you told me I'm a one-take wonder. I always do things in one take. You remember that? And do you remember what I did?
It probably took him 6 takes.
No, you jumped up and down and made me laugh like a silly goose. Yes, that was in Ohio at the Am Worlds in Ohio in 2010.
And you said, okay, we got to do another take.
Yeah.
I was very happy to make you do 2 takes because you were the one-take wonder. But so smooth. And by the way, not to stick my nose anywhere it doesn't belong, but you are fantastic on the mic. I love hearing your commentary all weekend. Thank you so much for giving disc golf you.
Well, thank you for giving disc golf to us a long time ago. So, I mean, it's true. Honestly, I mean, you hired SmashBoxx a long time ago, and and natural Terry behind the mic, natural Johnny behind the keys. It just made a lot of sense, and so it wouldn't. I don't know if Terry would be behind the mic had you given anybody else a chance.
I was going to say, I'd be behind a mic, but maybe I'd be only paying myself. Well, nonetheless, I appreciate it. Clearly, I'm not everyone's cup of tea. I do like that we switch out some commentators as the year goes on. Somebody else who said they liked my efforts said, I just wish it was you all the time. I'm like, no, you don't. I think a little of variety throughout the season from a handful of different, obviously color commentators, but then even host, I think is good. I think it's good overall. So. And
I've done commentary on maybe 10 events, both live and post, and it is perhaps the hardest job I've ever attempted. I'm very, very bad at it, so I know my level, but to be able to fill that time with and then to be able to ask questions of the other person. In such a way that they're able to know the answers. I actually don't. It's an amazing. You do an amazing job. I'm not here just to do that though. I do obviously have an announcement, and you guys have some questions. And so we'll get to all that. But I just wanted to say thank you very much. Watching the women compete at Supreme was so fun. And I'm so glad that wait, are we allowed to do spoilers?
Yes.
Okay. I'm so glad, even though Ella missed that upshot for the win in regulation, she came back and hit it, and then hit it, and managed to get the win on the second overtime hole. You know, I don't love to criticize, but I'm going to give this. I don't think 18-18-18-18 is the way to do a playoff. That was a long wait.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you. And I love that 18 is involved. I think, sure, make it the first hole, but then go back to 1 or something, or whatever hole happens to be close by. I don't know the park well enough, because 18 is a good decider hole in that you're likely going to see somebody probably not make it, as we saw with Evelina the very first time around. But then after that, I would rather see some sort of different configuration. So,
So, but other than that, and Olympus is such an amazing course. And I love that Paul Macbeth gave Mike Barnett constant kudos. He was just like, Mike Barnett's been honing this course for over a decade, and I just did a few tweaks. And Mike's been, obviously, Terry, you've been there many, many times a long time ago. And I had no idea how beautiful that course was. Mike was always telling me, and I'm like, "What's in Florida? How hilly can it be?" But they've got a gem there, and I'm excited for that to be the start of the Pro Tour forever. That's a beautiful place.
Yeah, and in addition to all of that, blessed with great weather this year, and more often than not, we do have good weather. It's just last year going there for the first time ever, and the All-Stars and everything else, it just happened to be the worst weather we've ever had there.
Always assume it's going to rain for like a half hour in the afternoon in Florida.
No, not necessarily
maybe
there.
Not there.
Yeah, not in that area. You get that in other places of Florida, but not so much there at that time of year. So we were blessed with everything looking good and playing out pretty good this weekend as well. I think it is tough, real quick, on the FPO side of playoffs. It's always tough because we're often being pushed by the bottom MPO cards, right? So no matter where you go, it will create a disruption in that flow. And so going back to 18, we were almost clear of not having any of the cards at 18, but then 1 or 2 crept in. Understandably, they're just playing their golf. So, and then you go to 1, and then you start to do, like, anyway, I hear what you're saying. It's a tough predicament to be in, and obviously MPO playoffs, don't have that concern. But what a way to start the tour. A 3-way playoff in FPO.
And then the men,
the doubles.
Like, why bother watching? Someone's winning by 5 strokes. This is going to be a runaway. And wow, great, crazy. And to see Paul Macbeth and Ricky on that lead card, it was, it really was as good a start as the season could have had, in my opinion.
Yeah, I completely agree. One of the things that was I kept mentioning this weekend, a new sponsor of the tour, and I think there was an official announcement, a press release today regarding Zenni Optical becomes the official eyewear of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. What does that mean for both Zenni and for the Pro Tour? What do you think that means? Like that, just the concept of a company like that being involved.
Well, the thing I didn't see was the 10% coupon code, because I have my Zenni cases right over there. These are Zenni glasses. I ordered Zenni glasses during the tournament because that little Zenni thing came up in the corner and it reminded me to do so. Jess is going to the eye doctor next week, partially because Zenni is sponsoring the Pro Tour. It's just... So that this sponsorship has already cost me $55, and I expect it's going to cost me another $100 to $200 once she's done getting all of the cute glasses she wants.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat because I've been complaining for the last, I would say, 2 months about, I think my eyesight is still changing, and so it's, I'm doing a lot of this, leaning in on screens, and so I need to go get an eye checkup, and I think that with the Pro Tour and Zenni's, it just leads me to, I tend to order my glasses online anyway, and I think just getting them from Zenni's is the way to go then.
100%. Yeah, I was tired of this. Just
Yeah, I know
that.
it's never so fun in Zoom calls when you're you're trying to look at the screen because it's a foot and a half away from you or something, and everybody's getting a great shot of your forehead or maybe your up your nose. Yeah, that's never ideal. Never ideal.
So, what are some of the things that you're working on, knowing that you, of course, have the OTB MVP Open by OTB near the end of the year as we close out the tour that we just opened, but you've got some other events, other projects. What else is going on?
So it's funny you say that because it was about maybe about a month ago. I woke up and I couldn't figure out exactly what I needed to work on. And so what I decided to do was, and that's so funny, I didn't even prompt this, but I decided to put together a sheet of all of the things that I'm working on. So I actually have this sitting in front of me, and it's all of my projects. And I'm not going to, there you go. All of my little projects are on that sheet. And so it's kind of fun that you asked that question because like I have it all sitting right there.
You're already laying out the roadmap. I love it.
I'm going to run through them, and the last two are going to be kind of the exciting things, okay?
Okay.
So we're leading people. We're trying to get the extra time for people to watch.
Yes, we're ramping up.
Okay. So
start with the boring stuff.
The number one thing on my radar is always Maple Hill. We've got some new changes coming into Maple Hill. One thing that I've always wanted is a stronger hole 17. So when we're coming down for the tournament and if you're down by 3 and you're on hole 17 at Maple, really you don't have a chance of winning. You can get the birdie and then the par, but then you're down by 2 on 18, and unless somebody pulls a Proctor, you don't have a chance. And by pulling a Proctor, I mean maybe missing that final putt from the drop zone, and he could have easily gotten a double bogey, which is insane. And then the MVP Open, and by the way, I say MVP Open by OTB. The tickets are on sale now. I feel like the diamond and blue tickets are close to sold out for the weekend, but maybe not quite. So if you want to get a ticket, there's a few left. Obviously, we're working on that. I'm very excited. MVP is going to be doing an even better job this year with the disc releases. I'm super excited about that. We also have, for the first time ever, a staff-only disc release. So every year, a couple weeks after the tournament, we all get together. And one of the things that came out of that was, can we get a disc that just only the staff can get? And the disc won't. It's going to be a stamp. Obviously, it's not a special run disc, but the stamp, we're making a staff only stamp, and there's going to be 2 little spaces on it for the signatures of the champs. And I'm very, very excited about that to give all the staff that on Sunday. Obviously we have the Cosmic Open coming up. It's the first MPO FPO A tier at Maple Hill, May 9 to 11. The AM sides are all sold out. Actually, there's a few women's spots left. MA1's all sold out. MPO has about 3 or 4 spots left. FPO has 8 spots left, something like that. But very excited to work with David Graunik at Cosmic on that A tier, and I'm excited that he was willing to bring it up to Maple Hill. Future of Disc Golf. You guys know about that?
We do. We're familiar with that. That's the European Junior Championships sort of thing, right?
I would say it's we're not allowed to use the word world, I guess. How about international?
There you go. International.
I'll say it's an international junior championship.
Okay.
And yeah, you come to Maple Hill, you qualify to go to Maple Hill Open, which is a junior event, and then in June, and then if you win that, you get to go to Europe. And the minimum travel assistance we'll be giving to the winners is $1,000. So
Sweet.
We want to make it possible for juniors to be able to get to other countries and see the world and see what the world of disc golf can offer competitively for them. Obviously, I've got Boda Brothers going on. Birdie actually Birdie Pro has picked up steam lately. It's kind of fun watching more and more people getting into I'll say the Birdie Pro universe. And I'm getting, it's fun. I know when it's getting more and more popular because I get emails saying, wait, can Karma Quinn change cards to chips at any time? And it's like, just look at the rules. But yes, but
yes, because it's a very straightforward game that any idiot should be able to figure out, except for me.
Now,
when I've played,
I don't know if you're joking, Terry. Actually, I do. I do know that you are joking. But the game, if you've only played Birdie, it's probably 80% simpler. We threw away all of the rules that just added complications and tiny little bits of strategy. And now the bulk of the strategy is there, but most of the complications have been removed.
Yeah, you played very early on when it first came out.
Yeah,
and I know since then they've tweaked a lot of the rules.
I don't think I'm your best spokesperson for the first early time that I played it, so I'll just reserve my.
You're not much of a board game person in general, though, are you? Lately? You used to
I'll
be.
play them and I enjoy it.
Okay,
but it was very complicated for my little brain the time I played it. But like you said, that was in fact very early on in one of the earliest versions, probably. So I should bust out one of the other ones that I've bought since then, but that's still in the box.
Terry, if I send you a game, would you try it?
I would. I absolutely would. Yes. But I
would be willing to send you a game on the condition that you try it and give it away on your show.
Okay. That sounds like a deal.
I would say maybe when you reach like 1,000 subscribers, you could give it away.
Okay.
Like, maybe we'll get people to sign up.
I've got my bot farm or my farm, whatever. I've got a whole bunch of phones that are subscribing as we speak somewhere. I got them all set up. We'll get there.
Let me see what else I haven't. So, Venus Basket. I don't know if everybody's aware of the pollless basket that we've come up with. Don Booten and I are working on a pollless basket, which has 100% fewer spit outs.
100% fewer spit outs.
Yeah, but not every spit out is the poll's fault. But okay, 100% fewer spit outs due to the poll.
Sure.
How does that?
Maybe we have that in little words at the bottom.
Yeah,
but if you go to venusbaskets.com, I think that's it. Venusbaskets.com. That's you can see a picture of it.
This I know was. Oh no, that's not the right website, Johnny. That was a typo.
No, that wasn't a typo. That was an autocomplete. No.
Okay. All right. Johnny's.
Hey, there we go.
Up on screen, and I know that these were briefly mentioned during last year's OTB MVP by OTB.
The MVP Open at OTB, we actually had this, and actually this is still at Maple Hill.
Okay. Yes. Now, was this basket submitted, and I saw a tweet about this today, which really ties it together. Was this submitted to the Disc Golf Pro Tour as a potential basket for Pro Tour approval? Is they're kind of going through that
not
testing?
Yet. And
we go ahead, Steve.
Go ahead, Johnny.
No, go ahead. Finish up. I'll after you.
We talked about taking a basket down there, but it would have been a prototype, and we decided that we wanted to show and test the final basket. For example, this basket doesn't have our ideal chain configuration. There's some rough edges. It's a prototype.
Okay.
And
we wanted to make. Actually, if you press play on that, people can watch the.
How does this thing
fly
stay
into
up?
The basket.
Oh, I see. You've got a.
Yeah, I was just going to say for our audio listeners, the basket has a support system on the outside of it from one side of it, and it does not. So it's holding up the top level of cage.
So imagine if a disc golf basket were to be playing Hangman. It's basically kind of how it's positioned. Okay.
Terry's giving away all my best ideas. That's how I get my ideas is from Hangman.
Oh, well, I mean, sometimes.
There's been some pretty discovering puzzles that we've played during Hangman, that's for sure.
Yeah, and so from like to describe the basket, obviously there's a contraption that holds the upper set of chains up, and then the basket itself is sloped inward, as opposed to coming what we've seen in the past, either perfectly horizontal or even sloped outward a little bit.
And there's
or vertical. Sorry, not horizontal. Yeah.
And the idea behind that is, if you're familiar with a minnow trap, where it's basically a cone with the top of the cone snipped off, and the minnows can swim into the trap, but they can't swim out of it. And the idea here is the disc, if it hits the bottom of the basket, to see a disc hit the bottom and then swoosh out is very painful to watch. Because so this way you hit the bottom of the basket and you'll bounce up and hit that angled in edge, and that will tend to bounce you back into the basket as opposed to flying out of the basket.
Okay.
It makes sense.
Has this been submitted to the PDGA for approval?
The only people we've submitted this to are the patent attorneys.
Okay.
All right.
Shout out to Sunstein.
Okay.
But the idea, we're finalizing the basket right now, the second version of it. And then the plan is to have that ready for the DGPT testing, which I believe is in April or May. And once we've demonstrated that it is in fact the best catching basket in the world, then it's just a matter of how we get it on the tour and at every course in the world.
So this is clearly, as we know, the best catching basket in the world, but it is also got a unique what's the word I'm looking for?
Support system?
Support system. So if you're on one side of it, you're obstructed?
Correct.
Okay. So
and that's
by design?
That is by design. And in fact, I will let you in on a little secret. Hangman is not how I came up with this idea.
Okay.
I was actually in the process of trying to develop a shield. When you go to the USDGC, they have the mozzarella sticks around the basket.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I know most people think that those are aesthetically pleasing. I do not. And what I tried to, not that my idea was any more aesthetically pleasing, but what I wanted to do was put just like a shield right on the basket. And so I was trying to develop a shield that you could just adhere to any basket. And so if you go to the left side and the shield's on the left side, then you're going to have an obstructed putt. So don't go to the left side. And what happened was I developed that shield, and then I thought, wait a minute, why don't we just extend that all the way down and get rid of the pole? And that's where this came from. The basket was actually designed so that there could be an obstruction on the side. And then from that came the poleless basket with the minnow trap, and there's a couple of other little things that I think will improve the catchability of the basket. But that's where it came from. And in the video you showed, the pole actually has a couple of barriers next to it that make the pole bigger, so you're more obstructed. And you could remove one of those, or you could remove both of them, so it's just the pole, or you could add both barriers so it's an even wider obstruction.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say you'll have to look through PDGA approval at some point, and then we can talk about when and where we'll actually see those implemented and at what events, and then the Disc Golf Pro Tour versus non-Pro Tour events, other events out at the course, your relationship you have with MVP and the baskets that are there. There's a lot of different conversations we can have as it develops later. Because I've got 100 other questions.
And none of it matters if it's not the best catching basket in the world. That's the start. And if it does do that, then we'll have those conversations. If it doesn't do that, then it was fun to try and we'll move on.
Yeah, that's
okay. I like it.
I love
what else is on your sheet that we need to make sure we touch on here? your roadmap
So
to Steve's ideas.
I'm working with WPI, but that's primarily just MVP related. They run the Big Barn putting course. I still have triple disc on the sheet. We are talking with the Polar Park, which is where the Woo Sox play in Worcester.
Mhm.
We have an event that it actually about 2 days ago we hit a little snag, so maybe I need to take that off of there. But they don't. There was something about the us using the field in such a way, and they didn't want us to hurt their grass. So we'll have to see if we can work through that. And then the last one, which I saved for last because I want to make an announcement on your show.
A SmashBox exclusive, as we call it.
A SmashBox exclusive. Can you read that top one, Terry, right there in the middle?
You got to center it a little
There we
better
go.
for us. Okay, yeah, I can read Maple Bots.
Yeah, I can't. That's so.
There you
It's
go.
so hard to go left when you know you should go right. Yeah,
Tell me about it.
Maple Bots. So, I was hoping to do this year, but I don't think we're going to pull it off. And so, what I want to do is announce that in June of 2026, we will welcome and invite everybody. Well, not everybody. Up to 12 groups that have disc throwing robots. And I would like, we've already developed the way that the format so that we don't have to putt, not yet. But we want to go to all of the par fours and the longer par threes at Maple Hill and have these disc throwing robots compete and see which one does the best on a disc golf course. And so we want to host Maple Bots, and I want college robotics teams. I want MVP and Innova and Discraft and House of Disc. I want them all to develop their own disc throwing robots. And then we come to Maple Hill and we have a little contest and see who is the best. So we're announcing it right here, June of 2026. Come throw.
I like it.
Or don't throw, actually.
Yeah. So
I was gonna say you should definitely don't restrict that to obviously college, because as I know, because my son's on the robotics team right now, is their prime season for building robots. And in fact, tonight I think is their robot reveal party. Even though most of us have already seen it at some point, for whatever it's called First, whatever their game is this season. So I've got the next couple weekends of going to robotics competitions. But I think there's a lot of high school teams that could actually do very, very well at that. There's some amazing robotics competitions that are going on right now.
just to put it in perspective, because
I will not limit it. I'm sorry, I will not limit it to colleges. You are 100% right. That's why I come on the show.
I've seen a couple of the ones that have been made. Simon's done some videos, MVP. We've seen a couple of the, to my knowledge, I think I've seen 2, maybe 3, but I think at least 2 big videos that have, okay, so you're saying there's 3. That was my follow-up is, do you know of more that are currently built or being built besides the 3 that have had, YouTube fame already? Do you know of any other ones?
I do not.
Okay.
I do not. But I have talked with 2 of these people, two of these groups, and I've reached out to the third and haven't gotten a reply in a couple of weeks. That's what made me think if I could get everybody here, these 3 here this June, we could do a little showcase and get some excitement. But I think it's best just to go ahead and say, we're going to do this in 2026. The 2 teams that I talked to, they did this project because it was interesting and they love disc golf and they just wanted to see, and they've kind of mothballed their projects, and to get them back up and running is something that they could do, but they both said we'd rather build version 2.0. And so that got me thinking, let's give them some time. Let's announce this as a real thing, and let's make a go of it and invite other people to give it a MapleBot battle.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, honestly.
I love it. I'll be interested to see. I guess they have 14, 15 months. I'll be interested to see how many more teams develop it, and actually, it's going to be funny to see what they've learned from the few that are already out there. I mean, in some ways,
Right.
those teams have a head start, the ones that have already built them and maybe are going to rebuild. But then also the other teams that are out there, they've seen what's been done. So yeah, it could be really interesting. So this June of next year is the plan out at Maple Hill.
Correct.
Yeah, one of the
And
channels.
I'm going out of my way not to say the day
Well, yeah.
because I'm not 100% sure that I don't want to do this on a weekday.
Okay.
Part of me wants to do it on a day when there's not many people there, and maybe we even close the course
Yeah.
and let these robots move around unrestricted. But part of me thinks it might be on a weekend, and we might invite lots of people to come watch and just close the course and let people come watch. I have to figure that out, but I don't think people are going to care if Wednesday to Saturday, 15 months out.
Yeah, there's actually when these high school competitions happen, when they announce the game, there's a bunch of college teams that compete in something called, I think it's like Robot in 3 days, where they take what these high school teams have got months to do them, but the colleges challenge themselves to do everything in 3 days. So it was in January where there was nothing but all these college YouTube channels that just streamed 24 hours a day, and these kids were all in their robotics labs, and they're constantly trying things out. And the competition this year for the high school kids is like they have to pick up these basically tubes of PVC and put them on pipes and pick up these giant balls and throw them into hoops and whatever. And so they do that. But these college kids, they challenge themselves to do all this work that these kids have been doing, or like my son's been working for almost 2 months on it, in 3 days. And then I think they have like a little show-off competition. So I definitely think there's a market for something like this. And I'd be really excited to see. And don't you have like some big MIT college near you somewhere? Like, I'm sure they've got a robotics team.
WPI. Yep.
Okay.
So robotics, competition, and disc golf are three of my favorite things. This is something, actually, it's kind of just like the Pro Tour. I just wanted to be able to sit on my couch and watch disc golf, and I can. Mission accomplished. And now I just want to see robots throw golf discs and compete at it at Maple Hill. It's just something I want to see happen. So hopefully it can.
That's
I have
so
to
cool.
I have to call this out because Doc Zen said it'll be 10 holes because binary. That's in the comment. I love that comment. It was worth repeating.
That's great. No, that is great,
really
Doc.
funny. I love that, Doc. So, all right. Well, that is very exciting, and I'll be interested to see who comes out of the woodwork. Somebody also said on here, I think it was Tim, said that got to get Joe Revere working with the robotics team that he's been doing, all that work he's done throughout the years. He's talked about that here on the show and whatnot. That would be really cool. And presumably in June, they might be done with their school year. So maybe that's something that could get Joe Revere to help head a team up or be part of it as well.
Okay. Real deal. The thing I need most is a name. Because I have, you can see on here, maybe, if I hold it up right, Maple Bots.
Yeah.
Sure.
And it says the future is in the air. Like, Maple Bots is a dumb name, I think. So
it's kind of tough, I think, to yes, it's at Maple Hill. I obviously get that, but I don't know if the rest of the world would understand that. And if this ever got beyond Maple Hill as a competition or a series of competitions, then there too it might not make as much sense. So yeah, we're gonna have to workshop that name a little bit.
Ray,
should I name it
Robots?
Robots? I like that.
It's not bad,
that's
Ray.
Better than Maple Bots.
Yes, by a lot.
Yeah. I mean, we might be able to get better than Throwbots, but that's a good starting point. It's better than Maple Bots, and
we've already moved up. Somebody just, I'm sure someone just secured throwbots.com, so we'll have to change it.
Well, we'll have to work, take that offline, as they say, and we'll get it figured out for you. I like it.
Well, I was hoping your audience would actually
okay.
help.
So you are
name
we're
it.
looking to workship it now. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys. You can get an old version of Birdie if you just give us the. We've got those all stacked up in the attic. So if you want to win an old original version of Birdie, I don't want to say old, an original, an OG version
OG,
of
right.
Birdie. That's what we'll call it.
I will tell you, we have 4 of those left in stock, and they're selling for $100 a pop.
Okay.
Birdie,
Okay.
Birdie Classic.
Yeah.
Pretty classic, yeah.
I got to wonder if I have how many of those I may or may not have as well.
Oh, you're a hoarder.
That's true. All right. Well, we're going to have to wait on the names as people will hopefully continue to bring them up. Dodge bots.
It depends how well they
That's
throw.
Yeah.
That's a different game.
Yeah, I mean, yes, very much so. We can line them
Yeah.
up against each other, and then maybe they can do that. I don't know. Ugh.
A machine throwing a disc 120 miles an hour, I think all the people lose.
More than likely.
Do you see this as an initial competition next year, and then I guess the possibilities are endless. Whether it goes to other courses, this becomes a series. This becomes an annual competition of some kind.
Competes with the Pro Tour.
Yeah. There's a lot of different ways to look at how this could unfold. I mean, you were even just talking about the date. I think having it maybe a day or two prior to some other big event you're having out there also makes sense.
Maybe
Or not.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Now, watching these, I was happy to see both of the robots that came to Maple Hill, and it took some time to set them up, and it took some time to get each shot lined up. And it's not I feel like it would be a standalone event, and I think it would be big enough to be a standalone event. Everybody loves throwbots.
Everybody does. Everybody loves throwbots. You could have doubles competition with a player. Alternate shot.
If just have the
Alternator
player
shot?
anytime you're within circle 3.
In my head, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
So,
I like it.
That's everything I go. That's why I wanted to be on here to let you guys know about MapleBots, which is now Throwbots. And if your audience, if both of the people watching could try to come up with a name, that would be great.
So
Smash bots.
no, let's not smash any bots. The last time we had you on, we talked about the course changes to Maple Hill, and the biggest course change was hole 1 with the tunnel, the bridge
Triple
tunnel,
Mando, yeah.
the triple Mando.
Yeah.
How do you feel that went over? You think it went pretty well?
Right over the fairway. That was great.
Once people saw it in person, they didn't complain.
Okay.
It was it allowed us to get spectators safely behind the green. It actually forced people's initial drive to be much more controlled. That was an unexpected benefit, but Scooter, the starter, told me that we didn't have a single backup on hole 1 all day, and he thinks it's because everybody they couldn't fade out way right. Because in the past they could fade out way right and they could try to punch through the woods. Now they can't do that. They have to be in control on that drive. So in all likelihood, it probably shortened drives by 30 to 50 feet, and it forced them to not turn their disc over. So it worked fabulously, and I genuinely can't remember a single player after they played it saying they didn't like it.
Yeah, I can't say I was skeptical because I understood the purpose of it and the need for it, not only to save the the shrubs or the trees around the edges of it, but then honestly, when I saw that you had plaques on the inside of it, I honestly felt that was the perfect finishing touch that really made it worthwhile. Like it had its uses and it had its reasoning, but then to put that extra little touch on it, I think everybody, it's really hard to complain about something like that. Like, oh man, I really hate this thing. Oh look, Val Jenkins' name in there, and there, you know.
And
who had that great idea? Your wife?
Well, actually, a few people came up with that idea. Did you?
I don't believe I did.
No, I
I
wouldn't
can't
think
take
so.
claim to that.
a few people did bring that idea to me, and I was very happy to enact it. It's a great touch. And I've got a shout out to Joel Brown, who built that. And I said, the only thing is this thing has to be solid and look really good, because I don't want anything janky that people come along and say that's just disc golf not spending money. So we had to make sure it looked really good. And we had a couple of really good partners. East Coast Metal Roofing gave us beautiful metal shingles on top of that that were left over from a job. And those shingles are very expensive, the shingles on top of that roof, and they will be there forever. Nice. And look great forever.
Yeah.
Good. I like it. All right, Steve. Well, speaking of bots, I feel like our next guest is not far from being a robot himself when he steps up to most of his putts, and just the way he duplicates so much of his effort. Is there anything, knowing this was the first event of the season, you saw the incredible battles on both sides, we're going to have Ezra Robinson join us here in just a few minutes after you depart. Anything either you want to ask of him or say to him on your behalf before we get to him?
The only question I would ask is how many does he expect to win this year? Because I don't think he won any before this, and now he's got a taste. And last year, Anthony got a taste, and he won a whole bunch. And I would just want to know, how many more should we expect?
Okay. Final question to that, and that's a great one that we'll ask him. What do you think of? He's one of those players that switch sponsors. We saw Ricky Wysocki, of course, switch sponsors, finishing right there, just in the top 4 along with them. What do you think of the off-season moves that were made, just generically speaking? Is that something that excites you? Do you pay a lot of attention? Do you care about any of those types of things in terms of who's playing for whom?
I apologize. I don't know. Ezra used to throw for Prodigy.
Correct.
I think.
Yes, and now
I
plays for
don't know
Discraft.
what he does now. He's
plays,
on Discraft?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. And Ricky moved to
Discraft.
Did he move to Discraft?
Yeah, the entire lead card was Discraft, actually. It's kind of interesting.
Well, I actually knew Paul Macbeth was Discraft.
You did? Okay. Yeah. Okay, good.
And Anthony Barella. So.
And AB, if I put a gun to my head, I probably could have come up with it. I think the off-season moves are fantastic because they keep people engaged.
Okay.
The NFL was making moves all off-season, trying to keep people engaged, and I'm sure the MLS does it, but nobody pays attention. But and the fact that we have moves, I think, is a very positive thing. When someone's contract is up, what's going to happen? I think that excitement is perfect to keep us going through the off season. So, do I pay attention? I actually don't pay much attention.
We gathered that.
But he's busy designing baskets, building bridges, getting new sponsors, buying glasses.
Yes.
Buying glasses, going to dinner, all sorts of good things. Trying to figure out which blazer to wear on Smashbox. It's a tough life.
It seems like it.
You are always one of the best dressed guys. You're always wearing a blazer, or if you want to go way back, a Star Trek uniform. So one or the other.
Yes. The funny thing about that Star Trek uniform is you actually do have to pull it down. Jean-Luc Picard was right.
Yep, he was always popping and straightening it out. Yeah.
When does the Star Trek outfit somehow combine with a blazer? I mean, wouldn't that be kind of the ultimate? So we have a lot of wacky ideas the couple weeks after. Nothing's sacred. You can say anything you want. The last 2 years, I've said I want to have a costume party on Thursday, and maybe it's my subconscious saying bring the Star Trek Jean-Luc Picard back, but it's always turned down. Everybody on staff just says that's a dumb idea. Okay. No, you can't win them all.
Anyway. I wish you guys the best of luck. I've heard that Ezra Robinson is very short spoken, so you guys are going to probably have to do most of the talking.
We've heard from him, and we know that he's got plenty of charisma, and we're excited because what a moment, like you said, to have him get his name erased from one of our graphics that keeps getting shown on the Pro Tour broadcast is pretty awesome. That he's no longer the highest rated player that doesn't have an Elite Series win.
That's right. So I'm going to close out with a shout out to my wife Jessie. We found this in the basement, and it's my United States Disc Golf Championship backpack that I can't understand. She cleaned this thing. It was so dirty, and she was like, "Do you want to keep that?" And I was like, "If you can clean that, it would make me very happy." And she did, and it came out perfect. And it's going up on the wall someday. I'm very, very excited about that. Thank you, Jesse.
That says a lot because you're not a real collector, from what I've gathered.
I'm not. I have a bunch of discs behind me, but I'm not much of a collector.
Correct. Huh. All right. Well, Steve, we appreciate you giving us some insight. We appreciate the SmashBot exclusive, I guess we'll call it.
I like that.
So nice. We certainly appreciate that. That should get some people thinking about June of next year, on some date in June, when they can bring their
Throwbots.
Yeah, their Throwbot over and compete at Maple Hill. We'll probably talk to you one more time at least before we see you for the MVP Open by OTB Disc. But until then, keep doing what you're doing, buddy. We appreciate it.
Peace out.
Good night, Steve.
Good night. See ya. Steve Dodge.
What are you chuckling about, Terry?
That he's never short of ideas.
No, he's got a lot of ideas, and that's what we need in our sport, an idea person. We said the same thing about Chuck Kennedy a decade or two ago.
Whose birthday it is today.
That's maybe why he was in the back of my head, Terry.
There you go.
Happy birthday, Chuck.
Yes.
But we always said the same thing about Chuck, who creator of the player ratings, just a guy who, you throw 10,000 things at the wall and eventually 2 or 3 of them are going to stick. He's not full of perfect ideas, but if you don't have any ideas, that's a problem.
And you're just a dolt like me, and you just sit around and react to everybody else that is smarter.
Yeah, well,
that's all I can do.
Reaction videos get a lot of views, though, Terry.
That's true.
So,
maybe I need to get in on that. All right. Well, we do appreciate that Ezra has been patient. I told him now he can jump on anytime. I just sent him the information, so I'm going to assume that we're going to see and hear Ezra pop up on screen, and we'll get talking to him right away when he joins us here in just a moment.
And while we wait, let's kind of maybe quickly go over the FPO results. We saw a 3-way tie for first place between Ella Hansen, Holland Hanley, and Evelina Salonen. This, as we talked about with Steve, it went into hole 18 a few times. The first time it went around, Evelina got eliminated. The second time it went around, Holland got eliminated. And that's all we needed. And Ella going eagle to finish on 18. She 3'd it both times in the playoff after parring it, I don't want to say fortunately, in the on the final hole in regulation. It's really funny because I was watching that, and I didn't watch a lot of golf this weekend until the final round, and you said it perfectly. You're like, she's sitting down at the base of the mountain, and I think you maybe said it 2 or 3 or 4 times. All she has to do is not be short. Do not be short. Go deep long. Don't be short. And she got the nose up on the forehand. And I honestly questioned if it was the right throw. After she threw it and didn't make it, I sat and thought and said, because of the situation, I said, maybe the backhand was the smarter move. Because she throws further backhand than she does forehand. Mm-hmm. You can really lay into a power shot backhand. Not that you can't forehand, but I feel like she maybe has a little more control with a power backhand if you're going to overpower a disc. Overpowering the disc, and let's say your job is to go deep, you can do that, and you can take a lot of the nerves out versus that forehand shot, which had to be it was still a good chuck, but it had to be a little touchy, as most forehand shots are, and she came up short. Fortunate for her, she puts it then under the pin, was able to, tap in for her 5. But all I kept thinking is like, don't be short. Throw a backhand, throw an Anheuser backhand, just get over that edge and deal with your issue up there. Because if you're up there, even if you go out of bounds up there, you're looking at a 40-foot putt. Right?
Yeah.
And that gives her a chance to win. From where she was, she had no chance at that point to win.
Yeah.
And so that's what I kept screaming, like, no, just don't do it. And then she, obviously, the one thing she couldn't do, I believe is what you said.
Yeah, it was, there's no guarantees either by getting up top, obviously, but it's just the one mistake, like we said, you didn't want to make, because you could at least possibly make the putt. You may even end with the same score when you're up there, but it's so much less stressful.
Correct. And I think that clearly throwing the forehand in the playoffs is the better choice for her from where she was at, because she knew what she had to do there, versus giving yourself a shot at the win. And like I said, in the final round of regulation, you didn't care if you were close to the pin. You just had to get up there any way possible. Yeah. At least during the playoffs, you play what you think is the highest percentage shot for you. And
I think she thought that during regulation, was that obviously the forehand is still the higher percentage shot for her, which I can't argue with her.
No,
especially as you and I are two guys who can't throw a forehand to save our lives.
Yeah, no, we can't.
So, she talked about how comfortable, she talked about in an interview earlier, how comfortable she is with her forehand. So, and I don't second guess the forehand attempt. It just was clearly the actual execution that failed her. But I don't second guess for 1 second her throwing the forehand at all.
If she's going to throw the forehand, I think she clearly needed to put more power into it and get the angle right. But even if you don't get the angle right, get more power behind it. Just get it up there. Like, if you think forehand is the best shot, that's great. But man, don't be short.
Yeah,
just don't be short. And that's where I think she really made the mistake. It felt like she was trying to get close to the pin with that shot versus getting up there and then dealing with the situation. Versus the playoff, like I said, where she clearly had a chance to dial it in. I've been saying clearly a lot. She had a chance to dial it in after she missed 18, and she didn't mess it up again, that's for sure. And she came out victorious. So congratulations to Ella.
And I want to tell the world, not only congratulations yet again, but also I did reach out to her. We talked about her joining. Her and I went back and forth yesterday, and she is at a hockey game right now. So that's why she's not able to join us tonight. She, of course, was invited, and maybe in another night we can still catch up with her or something of that nature. But she was invited to join us tonight, but she's busy at a hockey game.
I went to a hockey game on Friday. Fun.
Glad you didn't go on to win a...
I did not. I did it in the wrong order. If I were to do the Pro Tour now, I might win, but it's too late now, so I just can't do it.
All right, rattle off what we saw
real quick. At the Admirals game, they changed their name to the Cowbells. It was Cowbell Night. Chris Kattan apparently was there somewhere doing more cowbell, and I got a cowbell. But anyway, talking more about the results. 4th place, Cat Merch, shooting 11 under total. 5th place, coming out of... We'll say off the couch. Coming off the couch, Macy Veladiez. This is her first event since her first Disc Golf Pro Tour event since having her baby, I believe. Mm-hmm. And lighting it up, 10 under par overall. She had I don't say a rough, because she still got shot 1 under, but she wasn't keeping up the pace with the other women on the final round. Had a whole stretch of pars, but very, very impressive from Macy Veladiez. Kind of coming out of nowhere for a lot of people. Now, 3 years ago, we were talking about how she was one of those young up-and-comers that's kind of starting to take the sport by storm. And then life happened. She had a baby.
Extra life happened.
An extra life happened, yeah, no doubt. And she just kind of, obviously, it's a little bit more difficult to play while you're pregnant. So, but now she's back. And here's hoping that this is not a 1-week thing. I can't imagine it is, the way we've seen her be able to play in the past. Macy Veladiez, 5th place. I'm super excited. Does that make you more excited to see Kat Allen come back?
Katrina Allen, yeah. Katrina finished at the Shelley Sharp 2nd to Jennifer Allen. That was her first official event back. playing in territory she knows very well. Then again, almost everywhere she goes, she knows very well as a seasoned touring pro. But yeah, exactly. Katrina Allen is making her return at Waco this weekend, I believe.
Yes,
so
she is.
we're
Next weekend, but yeah.
The next event, sorry, is Waco, and so we'll see her there. So very excited. Katrina, two-time world champ, been touring, has been playing for a long time. Very excited to see what she's going to do when she comes back as well.
6th place tie between Silva Saarinen, Eliezra Midling, and Owen Scoggins, which I think this is not that Ellie's not a great player, but this shows that it really is more of a thrower's course. This particular course, based on a lot of the people who are at the top, Ella, Holland, Evelina, Kat. I don't know if Macy has that type of elite distance like the other women, but she's not shy, that's for sure. Eliezra, this really does prove that this is a thrower's course. And Owen just performs well almost no matter where she's at. But this course, it favors longer throwers, but she still gets it done no matter what she does. 8th place, Rebecca Cox, continuing her her finishing positions from last year, just kind of getting right back on the horse. And in 10th place, Cadence Burge. A funny story about Cadence. Someone reached out to me after, right before the events, a friend of hers, and said, "Hey, I have a question. Where's Cadence being drafted on average?" And I had to look it up, and I think I said on average, I think she was like the 36th player or 38, somewhere around there. And I was like, "Oh, that's interesting. Why asking?" And he's like, "Chip on her shoulder. She has something to prove." So using a little bit of stats maybe to honestly to show people like, "Hey, don't sleep on me. I'm here to play." So Cadence, one of our young players who is out there looking to kind of dominate. And it had a rough final round. Shot 3 over par to end up at 2 over par for the round. Dropped 3 spots, but just a good showing overall for our top 10.
Awesome to see. And as we've already said 5 other times, just a great kickoff to the season. It feels like everyone was entertained. I certainly heard and read and saw some frustrations with regard to some challenges with Disc Golf Network.
I only saw that day one.
I kind of saw it throughout, and as we all know now, there's absolutely nothing that Johnny nor I have any control and or any influence on when it comes to any of the technical side of things in that capacity. I do feel bad for people that have struggled or have had any challenges. I wish I knew all the answers and or could, personally help people out. It's a wide range because there's plenty of people that said I had some kind of challenge. It doesn't work on this device, or I have to log out, or it's buffering, or it's doing this. They're unsure if it's the app or if it's their Wi-Fi or a combination of those. And then I also saw hundreds of people say, crystal clear, perfectly fine for me all weekend long.
That was me. I watch it all. I watch it primarily on my Roku TV, directly from the Roku, not even a box. It's built into the TV. I think it's a TCL or something. I never have a problem. I never have a problem on that device. My iPhone, every once in a while, the app will crash, but it's a video app. I kind of expect that from most video apps, so I don't really get too upset. You can always open it right back up in general. I tend to think that people who are using less, I don't say less stable, but less used apps tend to have more of the issues. Your Kindle Fires, those things. But maybe some older Android phones, trying to use it on your Xbox, things like that. Things that ideally should work. But I'll say, again, I've never had an issue on my Roku, and I don't have anything special. I literally just put it on my living room TV, and I had it play all day long in the background as I was doing a bunch of work. So it was a great event in general. And I do like that they're kind of doing, I was curious as to why they're doing one big long stream now, because they used to break it up. And it makes sense. And Mahmoud reached out to me, and he was like, "Hey, this is why we're doing it, because it makes more sense for this, that, and that reason." I was like, "Oh, that's really cool. That's a great idea, Mo." So, and it just in general, it's nice.
Yeah,
because you can just leave it on in the background.
Yeah, and I can't say it enough. I feel bad for anyone. I used to be somewhat, way back when, I was a little bit dismissive, thinking like maybe you're just not smart when you're having some of these problems. But clearly, there's enough people that have had some frustrations, and there are just truly some obstacles and hurdles. And I feel bad for anyone that has those.
Yeah, Dixon Jowers had said he had to like completely re-sign up for the system. He couldn't just like re-enable his account or something. He had to resubscribe. Or I can understand that some issues behind the scenes for signups and stuff like that.
Hopefully, it all gets worked out and reach out. I know they have a ticketing system and customer service and all of that stuff that is now built into it. Again, we don't see any of that, touch any of that, have anything to do with it. But hopefully, it gets worked out for everyone, because the last thing we want is additional frustrations that come from something like that. So, I guess we'll see. All right, I am.
Looks like someone just stepped into our green room.
Ooh,
yeah.
Is it a new throwbot?
It is not one of the Steve Dodge throwbots. I mean, the way he threw this weekend on that final round, though,
looked robotic.
He looked a little robotic to me.
All right. Well, he shot a 12 under to come from behind and ultimately take the victory. And we couldn't be more happy to have none other than first-time Disc Golf Pro Tour Elite winner, Ezra Robinson. Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are y'all?
Great,
awesome.
but
it's great.
Nobody's doing as good as you. Nobody in life, in our entire sport, is probably riding higher and more excited than yourself. Is that a fair statement?
It's gotta be close. Yeah, I think I'm winning in that category tonight for sure.
Did you enjoy for 2 weeks as well? Like for 2 weeks, you're like, hey, I'm on top of the world.
That's true.
I mean, Ella, it's exciting, but it's her second. I mean, she's been there, done that.
Whatever.
What does it feel like to have your name finally erased off of that graphic that we keep putting up saying highest rated player that hasn't won? What does it feel like that we get to throw that graphic away?
Oh my goodness, it feels amazing. This has been a weight on my shoulders. Probably I didn't expect much the first year I went on tour, but definitely the second and third, it's been a weight, and I'm feeling a lot lighter right now. So
when you look back, now that you have it in your back pocket, but when you look back to previous events, which one to you was kind of irking you of like, man, I should have walked away the winner there, or that was my closest chance? Which one stands out to you as like, man, that should have been it?
Man, I think the one I wanted the most was Champions Cup last year.
Okay.
Which Fresno won. He played amazing. He definitely deserved it. But I think being in that position to where I think it was just, if I recall, I might be getting this wrong, but it was Fresno, Joey Buckets, me, and somebody else. But like none of like the top guys. Like Gannon wasn't up there. I think, or Nicholas was the fourth one. But like you don't have Macbeth, Ricky, Gannon, Isaac, all of them up there, and so it was like this was like to be the one to get, because and so that one definitely ate me up a little bit, but yeah, and then Beaver State, I missed a 50-footer to push to playoff, I think, so that one too, but yeah, just what AB said last year, always stuck with me. He's like, all the losses are worth it now. And I think I said that in another interview that I'm going to copy and paste that statement to what I'm feeling.
I mean, maybe at Champions Cup, if you would have had Ricky and Paul on the card, it would have driven you more, because look what you did when they were on the card with you on Sunday. You shot a course record 12 under. We've clearly never seen anyone play the course like that. What was clicking for you? What type of, what did you have for breakfast, for crying out loud? But or lunch by the time you got out there? You were in the afternoon card.
Yeah, I actually went to Aviation Coffee. Just shout out to Aviation Coffee. So I guess that fueled the victory. No, but I realized I got out there and I was like, okay, the way I think, I'm like, okay, how, like, don't blow it. Like, don't just completely just throw it away. And then I was like, why don't I think about it as like, I know how to play good. I've shot hot rounds before. I know how to play. Why not just have this time be a fantastic round? I was like, huh, I should think about that mindset a little bit more often. So yeah, I switched that up a little bit, and I was like, there's no reason why I can't win. Just go do it.
Yeah, it's felt like in the past we've seen you get so close, and then you've had just like, I don't know if it's unlucky or just nerves or whatever, like a stretch of 2 or 3 holes where you've shot yourself out of the competition. Mm-hmm. And this event, you almost took that out of even play. The way you got up on everyone so quick, there was like 6 holes to go, and everyone's kind of just like, Ezra's just gonna take this. Like, he has to really, really screw it up in order to, to do anything, and there was no reason to. You could play it relatively safe. Did that ever cross your mind that you're just going to just stay in the fairway and go, because you seem to still be aggressive?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, definitely I cannot switch up the way I play the course. And if I do, then I'm just getting lazy. I can't take any shot for granted. I can't, like cruise into the finish. I don't want to, because it's just not how I play. And nothing's safe. I mean, you got 16, 17, and 18 who were taking big numbers all weekend. Calvin, right before we got there, took a triple on 17. AB birdies, I triple. That's a stroke or two going into 18, which is not an easy hole itself. So it's like, I knew I could never let up. And it was the same exact feeling. When the Silver Series, the Rochester tournament in 2023, going against Matty O, I just couldn't let it up either, and I ended up shooting like the course record there too. So it was like the same feeling where it's like, if I get lazy, then it's gonna fall apart.
Well, so everything you just said about having maybe a different mindset, Ray on the board is basically going with the same question I am, which is, you can have that mindset, but we also saw AB with all the confidence in the world as well. We see him shoot a 10 under and then a 9 under, has 2 phenomenal rounds. He has literally not missed a putt inside the circle. He's 8 for 11 from circle 2 going into the final round. He looked unstoppable, and it thought, even your best golf's not going to catch him because he's playing such good golf. So the question really buried in there is, how confident were you in, hey, it's just 3 strokes, I can get past him somehow? Did that seem possible with the way he was playing?
No. Honestly, no. I knew I kept up pretty well for the most part. He gained, I think, 2 on me second round, so I was 3 back total, like you said, and then 4 back after hole 1. I'm like, all right, I was like, I gotta just not give up, because who knows what can happen out here. And he shanked again on hole 2, and I was like, here's a chance, got to drive down there, got the upshot up, made the putt. I was like, there's one. And I just played the holes. I wasn't really playing anybody. I just knew I had to, first of all, start out hot. I think the first 2 days I was like even through 4, then even through 6. And that's where like all his strokes were gained. I played really well on the back nine, but like if I'm not birdieing the first handful of holes, then I don't have a shot. So I knew that. So I had to lock in and get the first ones and just kind of chipped away little by little. Then hole 4 came along, which helped a lot.
That's a big chip right there.
I want to ask about that one. Obviously you're watching him. He gets the rollaways twice. He's going out of bounds twice. Just something that we didn't see all weekend long, because like I said, he was nearly flawless. What's going through your mind as that's happening? Because I feel like there's got to be a million emotions, but what's kind of going through your mind as you're watching this happen to your teammate and friend and the leader?
Yeah. First of all, yeah. I don't know why he switched up his play for going over the top. He gotten 2 easy bars, I believe, maybe even a birdie look once. And as soon as I saw him pull out the cigar and try to go up the middle, I was like, okay, something's gonna happen. He hasn't played that shot yet. But I didn't doubt his ability to hit that. I mean, he hits, stuff like that all the time. But as soon as he, threw it a little inside, I heard it hit the tree. I didn't even see it hit the tree, but I heard it. And I was like, okay, that's something. That'd be a tough scramble. But again, not out of his, wheelhouse. He throws some of the craziest shots I've ever seen. And then it was unlucky that he hit the tree and rolled OB. And then I don't even know how the whatever shot, the second one that went OB, it hit so much bush and all of that up on the hill, and then took off. Like it almost sped up going. So that was just unfortunate. And I really felt for him because that's happened to me. Like I know exactly how that feels, where you throw the good shots and it rolls away, especially on hole 4. I think that's why I went up the left side, because I was like, I have rolled away. I played that hole one time and I've not rolled away. And that was like the second round or something. I don't know. But that hole bites me every time, and I totally feel it for him. So yeah, it was just unfortunate, but it was exactly what I needed. And I had already gained a stroke on 2 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then that big switch, that putt, I didn't even think about laying it up, because I mean, it's in my game, if I see it, I run it majority of the time. And I knew that it would be obviously a very clutch putt to make, especially with, I know he was taking a triple. So it was like, okay, you might as well, because if I miss, I'm taking a worse bogey probably, and I'm still gaining 2 strokes, and then we're tied. So it's like, I didn't care.
It's funny. I feel like that's one of your, I don't say endearing qualities, but one of the reasons why a lot of fans tend to root for you is your aggressiveness. Like you're right. If you can see the basket, you're running at it. It doesn't matter. And if you're 60 or 80 out, again, if you're 60 or 80 out, I give you I'm like, well, there's like a 1 in 5 chance this guy's hitting this. Honestly, from that distance, it's just, you hit more long putts, I think, from strange positions than anybody I've seen on tour the last 2 years. It's really fun to watch, and I think that's one of the reasons, like I said, why a lot of fans really enjoy watching you play.
Along those lines, I agree with all of that. Along those lines, as things then tense up and the dynamic within the group changes up probably just a little bit, and AB is now going from leader to not leading. Did the vibe, for lack of a better word, did the vibe on the card stiffen or change up throughout the round that you could notice or that you could share with us at different points during the round? Or do you guys feel like you're all same people throughout?
I tried to stay the same myself. I can read very well when people want to be talked to and when they don't. Like, I wasn't gonna go up and be chatty Cathy with AB on the tee pad of hole 5, just after all that happened. But it was kind of cool because, first of all, I don't mean to say this to count Ricky or Paul out at any point. I think I said in a different podcast that I would be the biggest idiot in disc golf if I ever thought I was safe from Paul McBeth or Ricky Wysocki. So they were always in the back of my mind. And Paul starting out double and then a bogey, I was like, okay, hopefully I'm safe. But, right. But Ricky was, he wasn't playing bad. He was right there. Missed a couple, shots, but right there. But they kind of, I don't know if they counted themselves out of it by hole 5 or hole, the back 9 or whatever. But they had their own little battle going. Yep. Because Ricky being new to the team, the rivalry that they have already, they're playing for that 2nd, 3rd, 4th place. And there's a lot of pride in that, I think. So like they had their battle going, me and AB had our battle going. And so like things were definitely tense. But I would talk to Paul, I would talk to Ricky, it'll be fine. But like they weren't talking to each other, and then me and AB weren't talking to each other.
You guys are all a bunch of little cliques over there. I see what it is.
Were you able to kind of keep track of the Paul Ricky battle from where you were, or were you so focused on your game and what you were doing that you didn't really like that's cool, those two boys are playing over there, I need to focus on my game?
Yeah, I really just tried to play the course and play myself. I really didn't even try to focus on what AB was doing. I just had a rough estimate of I knew I was in the lead by a couple shots going into the back nine. But yeah, I wasn't really paying attention to Paul and Ricky. As soon as I felt like they were I was kind of a little bit more comfortable, a lead over them. Then I just kind of forgot about them. It was just playing my own game and keeping an eye on AB.
Yeah, and what a wild world, because even as the scorecard just like jumps out at us as we're staring at it right now, and I know I mentioned this, you picked up 7 strokes in 4 holes, and like that is just a phrase that doesn't commonly get said.
Not in the pro division.
In the pro division on the top. That might happen, in 93rd and 94th place, but on the top 2 guys, to see 7 strokes go in one guy's favor over 4 holes, it just was the perfect storm, for AB and for you to take advantage. But
just how quick the shift happened is honestly what it is. Like just going from like, all right, I need to really just chip away to suddenly like, no, I just chunked away. Here we are.
Yeah.
Is there anything, you talked about how difficult, we know 16, 17, and 18 play out, nothing is safe. Is there anything on the course, pretend like Paul's not listening, is there anything on the course that you'd love to see changed or tweaked or altered? It could be really major or minor, but is there any adjustments you'd make out there?
Not a ton. I am not a fan of hole 11, but I can't tell you why.
Okay.
It's just like 2 little weird shots. And I think I got it all 3 rounds.
Sure.
Yeah, I got it all 3 rounds. It just makes me double think, and it's not like the cleanest looking hole.
Okay.
But again, it's fine. Like, I don't know. And then probably some of the branches on hole 9, on the pine trees in the middle, just because they stop a lot of good looking shots that like are hitting the gap, but they like tickle the branch and just get knocked down. Which again, part of the course, you can aim to miss those or whatever. But it would be cool to see a couple more drives get up there, especially when the ones are looking really, really good and hit like the edge of the branch.
Okay.
I really do like the change, or I don't mind the change to hole 13. There were a lot of, I think the par 3, I think it had more stroke separation. I haven't looked at any stats, but it felt like it would have. It was either mostly pars or bogeys, but it was a gimme out on the course, last year. And I like to change to 16. I
do you like where the OB is on 16? Because that's one of the questions, is maybe that OB is almost a little too punishing, or they need to clean out more on the inside. Those are both things that have been thrown around. What's your take on 16?
Yeah, not. I apologize, Nick Carl, but it's not my favorite. We chatted about it for a little while, but it's not bad. Like, I love the course. The course is probably my top 5 favorite courses. So I love the course. And hole 16, I just love the old hole 16 so much, because you actually have to commit to the shot. And if you yanked it right, you're OB. If you leave it short, you're pinched. That's great. I love that. This one, you have to throw like a nose down, through the woods kind of thing. And you can't really feel what the wind is doing down the hill in the open. It's like you could be hit the angle perfect. Oh, and then there's a headwind out there, so like your disc just goes OB, and maybe I'm not the best at throwing nose down Anheuser shots through the woods, and that just might be a part of my game that I need to work on. But I think those 3 are 16 and 11. Again, no hate for hole 11. I just feel like it doesn't fit as well. I don't know.
Sure. No.
So talking about the back 9 a little bit, at one point, as I'm watching, suddenly, at this point, it felt like you had it under control. Your brother shows up.
Yeah.
Two-time world champ. Did you, first of all, did you expect that? Did he let you know he was coming? And second of all, were you comfortable with it? Like, was that something you wanted or needed? Because I could understand how, like, you're shooting really well, and now you add a different person into the group. Someone who's going to be with you, talking to you. He's got your ear. He's your brother. So you have your own special relationship. Discuss how that, if at all, changed the card and how you felt about it.
First of all, I can't imagine a different guy that I would rather have with me coming across the finish line of my first victory. I've been there for, how many has he won now? 3 majors, one elite. Every single one I've been there. And so it was a dream of mine to have him there. And we talked about it the night before, that he was going to come out right after his round ended. So like it was all planned and everything. But like you said, I didn't want him to carry my bag at all. I carried my bag. He just was there to talk, and I just ranted. I just talked, just to get everything out of my head, just to not focus on, where I was, what I was shooting, that I was this close to taking down my first victory. And so he was just there. He was just an ear. And I would talk about how uncomfortable forehands are for me, especially on 14, having to throw a forehand. I was like, dude, I'm going to hit this tree. I could shank it OB. I don't know. I have no idea where this is going to go. And so just stuff like that, just being able to just say what's on my mind and kind of take my mind off the feelings and the pressure that I'm like, oh my goodness, this is actually could happen. And so he was great for that. And then having him there when I made that final putt was just icing on the cake. And it's just so cool to see to be a part of the Robinson brothers legacy, like for real now, because, he's won his 3 majors. He's won an elite series, and I am the proudest anybody is for him. But I wanted to be a part of it too, obviously. And now that I've won an elite series, I'm like, okay, I'm on the board. We're kind of in this together. You're not going to leave me super far behind.
When you, as you said, the word you use, rant, and then you kind of explained, but are you happy to talk to him about golf or non-golf related things? I mean, does he help take your mind off, and you guys are talking about, where you're getting ice cream later that night too? Or is it mostly a golf conversation when he's there listening?
Yeah. I mean, pretty much while we're on the course, while we're off the course, we're talking about disc golf.
Okay.
So that's just the theme of our lives, I guess. Yeah, just literally anything. I'm trying to remember stuff exactly I said, but I think we were talking about dinner that night or something like that. Or like plans for like next week, or, vlog ideas or something. Just anything that pops in my head just to talk. And, he was he didn't even like I would talk to him and he would leave me be when I wasn't talking to him. And so and then I would throw it and then just go talk to him, and then just tell him what I needed to do. And I would be like, hey, if I can do this, this, and that on that hole, then it's fine. And on the first hole he comes up with on 13, I have that putt. It was like 50 feet. I don't know. And I walk up and I'm like, hey, I'm not going to miss this to the right. And he's like, okay. And I missed it so far to the left. I was like, see, I told you I was going to miss it to the right.
I'll show you.
And I wanted to make it, but it was so easy just to, brush it off and just make a joke about it and move on. And he was there for all that. So that was super helpful.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that's the scenario, because obviously, even if you talked about it, having him show up, it, like you said, it changes your personality. It changes your attitude on the card. It can either tense you up or maybe make you too relaxed. Like, oh, great, my brother's here, and then things change because you had been shooting so well and had that lead that I wasn't sure how your interactions. Did you buy dinner that night? Winner buys dinner?
Okay. I bought dinner for 9 people at Texas Roadhouse.
All right, Texas Roadhouse. That's the choice of champions.
We have a bet, or not a bet, but it's like if the purse is over like 10 grand or above, you have to buy dinner.
Oh,
and
wow.
He texted, yeah, we'll see you at dinner. You made 10 grand, you buy dinner.
Wow, that's a high bar, because it was just the rhyming winner buys dinner, and it didn't matter. I mean, granted, usually for us it was like a Burger King, but
or Subway
or Subway. So
I'm playing C tiers, but okay, 10 grand is buying dinner. I ask almost every guest, especially early victories here, where will be the splurge? What will be something you'll buy or purchase or do that you probably wouldn't have done without the victory? Where will be there a little splurge of money?
That's a great question. Personally, I'll probably end up getting a new pair of shoes. I like shoes. I like having a fresh pair of kicks. But other than that, I would love. I have like a dream house that I want one day. So kind of just saving for that. And having a goal. So really nothing right off the bat besides like maybe a pair of shoes. So if I'm being honest.
Yeah, no, I as these years have gone on, we hear a lot of very level-headed, responsible responses to that answer. I'm waiting for somebody to be like, oh, I just went and, bought me a Rolex or whatever. But for the most part, we get responsible answers and just say, there's nothing you're absolutely dying to get and you need to go splurge on. I mean, that means you're making some wise decisions, it sounds like.
Right.
The final putt, you're up there, you've got 30, just under 30 feet. I think it was just inside the circle. Maybe it was camera angle was hard to tell. You put it in, you didn't lay it up. You could have clearly, but not your style in general. And then the flood of your friends, and not just your friends, but the one I happen to notice, Bob Giulio, right there, the guy you just worked with, you just signed with Discraft this off season. This is a Discraft event. The whole lead card was Discraft. Like there was a lot of Discraft going on at this event. How was that for you? Like to be able to prove to Bob and the world, like, yeah, I can do this. This is in me.
Yeah. I hate letting people down. And so playing for Discraft, being on the featured card of the first Pro Tour event, and it being Discraft sponsored with other Discraft people, with Bob there, and all that, I was like, oh my goodness, like it would be awesome to make sure they don't regret their choice and everything and the risk they're taking with me. And that was definitely in the back of my head a little bit. But once I started getting going, it cleared up. But Bob is genuinely, like, the whole Discraft team is just so encouraging, so nice. They've sent me discs. I've had Fresnel, Adam, AB, and Aaron Gossage, Ezra, just send me stuff or just let me try out stuff. Give me some advice. I got to spend the whole month of January and into February down there in New Zealand with Aaron Gossage, learning, just seeing what he bagged, throwing all that. He's just super nice, super caring, and the whole management team, Bob and Mike and Shane, and all the people who work there. I got to go up to the factory and meet everybody, but they're just the nicest people. They want me to succeed. They're going to do everything they can to see that, and they were super supportive. They would send me discs. They would Bob would text me a good bit, just be like, hey, just checking in, you need anything, how are things going, how you feeling, stuff like that. And it's just like there's something that just really made me feel comfortable, and to be able to get a victory for the team that I just signed with, and to just see his face light up at the end and be like, and he's like, I'm proud of you. And I'm like, that is awesome, because I did not want to let Discraft down. And just all that. And, it is very special being with a new team, being the team tournament, playing with all the team members. It was just so, I couldn't imagine it a better way.
And Steve Dodge asked this question. We had him on right before you, and I'll kind of rephrase it a little bit. Last year we saw Anthony Barella take this event down. He went on to win four
elite events. Yep.
Elite events. Mm-hmm. What is your expectation? How many are you going to win, Ezra?
Man, I want to say more. I really do. I think there's a new fire in my bones that I haven't felt before. I haven't experienced this feeling before, and it's addicting. I love it. I would like to feel it again and again and again. But I will not be. I think it's so easy to get satisfied. and kind of get lazy in your practice, lazy in the way you look at things. I've already succeeded. I've already got my win. I've already completed my goal for the year. So it's
New goals.
I need to focus up even more because I cannot be satisfied with that. The year just started. So that's actually like I said, I need to be out practicing more. I need to be wanting more. Because if I've knocked out my goal already, why not set my goals higher? And there's a ton of good people out there who are just as hungry as I am. So I'm not counting anybody else out, but I know that I can win, and I know that I really enjoy winning. So yeah, I hope to get more, but then again, I'm not going to get too cocky or too prideful, and just get down to business, keep my head down, and if more come, then great. If not, then we got to win. So that's where I'm at.
I mean, the crew that you often roll with and are most closely affiliated and associated with in your brother and Gannon and Gavin and all those guys, Alden, all those guys. Gannon clearly had no problem. Well, he had some problems picking up wins, but not much. It felt like last year. Had such a stellar year. Is there any extra joking or vlog material that comes about now that you've bested him and taken down this first win of the year?
I hope so. We've gotten to celebrate Gannon quite a lot, which is awesome. He's my closest friends, and I again, him and Isaac I would love seeing them succeed, and I hope Gavin and Alden get a win and all of that, and we're just one big happy family out there. But yeah, I mean, we always like having the lighthearted jokes and stuff in the skits and in the vlogs, and Alden is kind of the mastermind behind all of that. So I don't know what he has planned, but I'll definitely do my part to squeeze some of that in there.
As you should.
Gannon is now a 2025 zero time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
The guy is, I can't say he's winless, though. He did pick up All-Stars. Rebecca carried him. I mean, we made that very clear on the broadcast.
Yeah.
Yes, she did. One of the, and I'm sure you're not through the tens of thousands of various messages on different platforms, but one of the things that have come about is, the lead card picture after the event, and AB is the only one in that group not smiling. And I'm just going to say it before I ask you, I'm going to say I think people are getting way too hard on him about it personally, but have you seen that feedback, and do you have anything to say to someone that's questioning or giving AB a hard time for not grinning ear to ear after you beat him?
I'm just imagining myself in that scenario because I've been there a couple times, and it's like, you have a lead and you blew it, or you got beat. That's happened to me. It's not fun. It's not. I mean, you look at Ricky. What Ricky went through at the DGPT championship last year when he was like, "I'm here. I'll accept second place, but I'm not happy." I'm not. And why would he be? Why would AB be happy? But I will tell you, AB is genuinely one of my favorite people to play with, and getting to play all 3 rounds with him was just an absolute honor and a blast. And I really admire his game. I admire who he is, how he handles himself on the course. And I would love to, continue our battles, continue our friendship. And, I probably wouldn't be smiling either if I was in his shoes. But he is genuinely one of the nicest and friendliest guys out there that I can play with. So I don't, from my perspective, I don't feel super bad for him because I got my win, but no hate towards AB at all. I love that dude. He's fantastic. He even was like, "Hey, I got a lot of good discs for you. I can bring you at Waco. That'll make your bag." So he's a real just good guy. And Paul and Ricky, oh my goodness. I mean, I grew up watching them. When I was a teenager, and I was like, I want to do what they're doing one day. and to finally get my win with my 2 role models on the card, it's just insane. And Ricky was very, very genuinely happy for me, and it was so cool. And so was Paul. And it was like, these 2 guys are some of the best to ever do it. And it's like they see me as a winner now, and they're so nice and so encouraging. And that just, having watched them growing up, that was literally a dream come true for me. And to beat them to do it, it was like, oh my goodness, it's like doesn't feel real at all.
Yeah, we kind of smirked. I think Doss and I maybe smirked at each other when you said, you grew up watching them. And that's always kind of funny because you mean it in the most complimentary way, just as you said it.
How old does it make you and Doss?
Yeah, that's what is kind of the funny part. Is like, wait, is that a little shade too? Like, hey, we're beating up on these old guys, but clearly it's not. It is. I can't imagine the feeling, like you said, that you're going through to have these legends, 2 of the greatest of all time. Not only did you get past them, but for them to be gracious and genuinely happy. And I think that goes hand in hand with you being so well respected, right? There's other players I feel like that could win and they may not be as happy for, but you're through and through, a nice guy, and then B, you're just very much respected for your game on and off the course. And it's not surprising to me to see the love that you got from so many people. It's awesome all around. I mean,
I appreciate that. I'm very honored.
Yeah, it was cool. And a little piece of history for me. I've gotten to see a lot of great golf throughout this, last 30 years. And this will be a moment that I will, always remember as well. I think about when AB cashed for the first time, or Paul Macbeth lost the playoff to win AM Worlds, at the Worlds I was running in 07 or whatever. There's a lot of moments in my disc golf career. So it's cool that this becomes another one of those really incredible moments for you to be able to pick up your win.
I love watching first wins in general. I think it's great. And I'm sure you'll love to watch a second and third win as well. You're not far from Georgia in Florida. The trophy was a decent size. I always think, like, were you able to hand it off to someone to bring it home? Are you going to have to, are you carrying it for the next couple of weeks, just smiling at it in the passenger seat? And what's the deal?
Yeah, buckle it up.
Buckle it up. Yeah, click. Come, let's go, Pillar. So A, what are you doing with the trophy? And then B, let's get into a little bit, talk about like your travel plans and what's going on this year with that.
Yeah. So actually, I went back home on Monday. Yesterday I drove back home. I'm leaving for Waco next Monday. So I got to go back with the family, and friends. So I'm leaving the trophy up here. And yeah. So that's where the trophy is. And it's nice to have a week back with the family after being gone, in New Zealand. Really, I only got like a half back at home, before I left for Florida. So it's nice. I really wanted an extra week before I head to Waco to chill and see them and celebrate with them, honestly.
Were you at all tempted to play in the C tier that they had yesterday? You didn't want to stick around and play the flex start that they that would have been so funny to show up and smash everyone again. Like,
oh no, I probably would have lost.
I'm taking this one too. So as Johnny was just asking, what tour plans are you rolling solo? Are you caravanning? What's kind of the season look like for you?
Yeah, just rolling solo. But I am staying with, driving solo, rolling solo for me, but staying with Alden, Gavin, Gannon, and Sullivan Tipton. I believe. So we'll all be a nice little happy family out there and get the vlogs going and all that. And I think that's all year. So
awesome. Have you? Quick side note: Sully made an announcement that he basically withdrew. Thursday or Friday, the day before the event, wanted to preserve something with his back, I believe he said. Have you had any talks with him? And do you know of any updates, how he's doing?
I don't, unfortunately. Okay. Yeah, I knew he was a little hurt before, and he said he might not play. But I don't think it was too bad. I think I know he's planning on going to Waco.
Okay.
So I think he'll be all good for that. Hopefully. But yeah, that's all I know.
Will you go back, or have you already? I know it's only Tuesday. Will you go back and watch any of the live broadcast or any of the Jomez, or what, when and how many times, or what will you consume, and what will you be looking for?
That's
if
a long,
anything?
long drive to Waco. It's just on repeat, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Sunday night I did rewatch all the coverage.
Okay, there's no shame in that.
Yeah,
I mean, this is a career moment for you, and there's no shame in that.
And it's cool to get a different perspective, like to look at it from the outside.
Exactly. I wanted to hear what you guys were saying in the booth, and like what I did compared to what you guys were telling me to do that I couldn't hear. And it was funny on 15. I think he was like, I think Doss was saying, just throw a mid in the middle, mid up the gut, mid to the basket, take a birdie. I go 20 feet off the tee, 13 speed, second shot, and go for the eagle. And so it was like, in my mind, that's, the thing to do. And that's again my game. I don't let up. Like if I let up, I get lazy and make mistakes. And then same thing with 17. I was stuck behind the tree, shanked the tee shot, and he's like, "It's okay to take a bogey. Just take a bogey and get out of here." I'm like, "I'm saving par. I'm not taking a bogey." So it was cool to see what you guys were saying and advising after the fact.
Yeah, I mean it's obviously very different when we're sitting in the chairs, and not that we don't necessarily know what we're talking about. Sometimes we don't, but just what seems most plausible. But when you have a different confidence and a different mindset in there, and what I'll say about 13, coincidentally enough, once you put yourself up there, you were even closer than I realized on your second shot.
13 or 15?
15, thank you. Yeah. On 15, you made the putt. At the OTB after show, I think I said that putt for eagle was my shot of the day contender, because I like what that did. You followed AB. AB just hit a great putt. You were a little bit closer, but you followed up with an eagle of your own, not losing anything on the longest hole in the course because you also eagled. To me, that was like just, I don't know if it was pivotal, but it was definitely, as Doss would say, like a statement. And so it's funny you say that about 15, because that's how passionate, like that's how excited I was about you getting that eagle as well. Like you didn't give up anything.
No, and I knew, I know with 16, 17, and 18, like Calvin right ahead of us took a triple on 17. That's not that I can easily do that or worse. That's not something that I'm, immune to. And then 16, if I don't hit the gap or kick OB or whatever, it's a nightmare. It really is. So it's like I could lose 7 strokes in those 2 holes or 3 holes going down the stretch. So I knew that if I could, AB had the momentum. He drained a putt from a bush I couldn't even see over.
Yeah, that was a great shot.
I would have had to like do something. I don't have that because I'm short. So it's like,
what's that like?
And all the momentum in AB's hands right there. And I was like, I can't let him have that. If he has that, there's no telling what's going to happen. If I show any fear, if I lay up my putt or yank it right or something, if I show any mishap in my game, then he's going to sneak right in, because that's what he does. That's what the top level pros do. They see any weakness, they go for the kill. And so having that putt drop, I was like, okay, you just made a 60-footer, whatever, around a 8-foot tall bush. It's like, yeah, you're not getting anything. And so that really helped my confidence going into the last 3 holes too.
Awesome. Well, Stan on the board asked a question that's kind of in line with what I was going to go with. He said, are you watching scores every hole? So think about that. And then I'll follow it up and say, well, you guys were walking down 15, the hole we were just talking about, and you're setting up for eagle. I heard on the broadcast Macbeth talking about what had just happened to Calvin and what's going on with Calvin and some of the other players on the chase card. Calvin was obviously shooting an insane score, and Macbeth is verbalizing it. I could see that maybe being annoying, possibly to some players, not wanting to know what anyone else is really doing. So A, do you look at scores, and B, do you care that you're getting updates from other cards?
I don't normally look at scores. I looked at okay. On the final round, I did not look at scores. I had a general idea of where I was, because I keep pretty good track in my head of the people closest to me and all that. I did check on 16. I was like, okay, how many strokes do I actually have? Because this could get dicey. I did double check there. And hearing what Calvin's doing, honestly, I don't know. I don't know people's mindsets. I don't know Ricky, Paul's, or AB's mindset. If I'm 6 strokes ahead, 6 strokes ahead going into, it was 4 or 5. I don't know. I think I got 2 more on 16. I was like at least 4 strokes ahead going into hole 15. I don't know if AB is thinking, oh, I've lost. At what point is he thinking I'm out of it? I never thought he was. But at what point is he more annoyed that he's hearing that Calvin's shredding because he's catching him? So it didn't bother me. I didn't know where Calvin stood or anything, and I look at the score, or he was only 4 back too, and so it was like, I'm glad. I mean, no offense to Calvin, but it was a lot less stressful when I found that out that he tripled 7. I mean, I didn't mind. But,
didn't mind.
Him, but I was fine with it. And the more people on other people, not me, the less pressure I have. You talk about anybody, anytime. I'll just quietly do what I need to do.
Okay.
Ezra's back there like, oh, did you see so-and-so? Did you see how he's playing back there? Jake Mon, he's had great weekend.
Let's divert attention elsewhere. Yeah,
anywhere but you.
Again, big moment, for you, be on the team and, right away get this win. Is there, share what you will about your contract. Does your contract have consistency in mind? Does it heavily reward wins? Like how are things kind of structured for you?
Yeah, I think it's really just solid all the way around. Okay. I get a good bonus if I win. If I don't, it's pretty just solid. I think it's the same contract for 2 years, which is I'm very happy with. But yeah, so I'm very pleased with it, and they're so easy to work with. Everybody's so friendly. I can reach out any day, anytime. Just ask for something. They're like, oh yeah, I can ship that to you the next day, or something like that. And it's just so easy to work with. No complaints from me at all. It has genuinely been the most simple, best thing that I could ask for the start of the season.
Good. So are we going to see any sort of commemorative first win disc? Are we going to see a Discraft? I'll pull it up here on the screen. We can see some of the Ezra discs right now, the Peach Pirate, as people are calling you. These are the Discraft discs that you can purchase right now. Are we going to see anything special for this first win?
Yeah, I was actually talking about it today. I don't know if I can announce it yet. We're in the works, though. Okay. It is definitely in the works. So, definitely be on the lookout for that. And as soon as I get more information and we get it finalized, I'll probably be posting about it. Discraft will be posting about it and all of that. So, but definitely planning something.
As of right now, as asked on the board, you can get what Johnny was just showing: ESP Force, ESP Onyx, ESP Undertaker, and ESP Buzz were the ones that we were just showing. So we'll see what gets added when it comes to the commemorative stuff as well. But that's what's currently listed out here on teamdiscraft.com. They don't pay us for that, but they're good to us. We appreciate it.
They will. All right, I have to ask, and maybe you've been asked this already. Peach Pirate.
Yes.
Like, you know how that looks with an emoji, right?
Oh, I 100% no.
Okay, just making sure. I assumed you did. If you hadn't by now, I mean, I would be shocked, but okay. We'll leave it at that.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, I could even explain it if that would help any.
Sure,
Go for it.
Isaac calls me the butt pirate all the time.
Okay.
So which is very cheeky of him. So you know.
Hail.
Oh, now you're getting into Terry territory here with
the puns. Let's be clear here.
no, I was gonna leave it just hang there.
Okay, go on. No,
The buns. Yeah, this is going perfectly, swimmingly.
Yeah. I mean, Georgia Peach.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. Peach State, hometown, home state, and then the pirate theme. I love pirates. I have a couple pirate tattoos and all of that. So, and I love the ocean. But that's the stamp, and I'm just glad it's not a logo or like people's initials. I really want to stand out as my own on the team. They're sick, love them. But especially having another Ezra, like you can't really do much. So we decided to go with a new logo, and you know we can play off it too. It can be a serious one. It could be a little goofy cartoon or whatever. You know, it's very wide opportunities with it. So
yeah, I agree. I love it. Obviously, that's been the trend, and there's some really good ones out there, and there's some meh ones out there in terms of the two letters, you know, to make up the logos these days. So the fact that, like you said, you want to go with something a little more original or a little bit more unique, so to speak. I like that.
What's your favorite logo that's not yours?
Okay.
Ooh.
Like, what player do you look at and go like, God, that's really cool. I really love that.
Honestly, Isaac's logo is pretty sick.
I saw you wearing the Isaac hat. You were wearing his hat on the final day.
I was. Yeah. And so that logo is sick. And then his new stamp, I don't know if y'all have seen it, but it's like the cloaked bowman. Which is cool.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, that one's really cool. Ricky's little raptor one is cool. The R, I didn't understand what that was. And I heard a lot of things about that one too. But once they explained it to me, okay, that kind of makes a little bit more sense. But like the little shield raptor is really cool. But yeah, I mean, there's a ton of them out there. I'm drawing a blank on all my favorites, but Isaac's and Ricky's are really, really awesome.
Yeah, I think I even called you out in a good way as to was it the All-Stars or was it after day one of competition? You were wearing one color of Isaac's hat, and then by the time it was either interviews or it was after the round, you had switched to another color of his hat. Like you're getting the branding out there, you know, and making sure everybody sees what's all available. That was by design. You did that, right?
Well, I hate to burst the bubble here, but that was actually the same hat.
Really?
The camera or the lighting was different out there on the course. But it was a new hat. Yeah, he's very stingy with his hats, so he only gave me one. So he said I have to pay for the rest.
Okay. Hopefully, does he have a code?
Brother's got to eat. All that guy does is win worlds. He doesn't win majors anymore, or I mean, elite series. He's got to wait all the way until August to win another event. Jesus.
Yeah, maybe I can ask like Isaac 10% off or something. You know.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll test my luck. It's not looking good. So.
I love it. All right. We've talked about goals. You know, you're going to have to reset and continue to reset your bar for this year. Maybe that's not even the right question. I was going to say, what makes for a successful season? You've clearly already achieved something big. Can you promise this? How about this? Can you promise that you or your brother will win Worlds? Is that a fair promise? That one of the two of you will win the Worlds?
Got a good chance.
I want to promise you that with my whole heart. I really, the odds are in Isaac's favor right now, for sure. And I would not beg. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind me taking it down. We do have a higher percentage chance than other people because there's two of us, so we do have a little bit of the odds. But hopefully, I know my dad's gonna fly out and caddy for Isaac again.
Okay.
That'd be cool. And then I think my younger brother Nathan's flying out to caddy for me. So we'll have some of the family.
That is awesome, and just the fact that you'll both be there, you'll both have some wins under your belt, and you'll be able to see what you can do on the world stage over there.
Well, it'd be great to see the whole Robinson crew on the lead card. Like how many are there's like 6 of them on this card? What's going on?
Is there anything, I'll say anything that either we got massively wrong this weekend or anything that wasn't asked or shared from this weekend that, I know you've had plenty of interviews and everything else, but has there been anything now, we'll leave the door wide open, is there anything else that you'd like to share or discuss or bring up or clarify or dismiss? Anything else out there?
Not off the top of my head. I do want to I've learned a lot of the behind the scenes of all the people who help out with the Disc Golf Pro Tour, all the camera crews, all the networks, all the Joe Mez guys, all the pro shop people, all the just people who really do the behind the scenes stuff. For me, my job is simple. I get up, make my tea time, hopefully, and go do what I love. But there are people who allow me to do that. And I just want to give a huge shout out and thank you to everybody involved with that who can literally make my 12-year-old dreams come true. Because I wouldn't be here without them. We wouldn't have tournaments without them, without Jeff Spring, without everybody behind the scenes. And you guys don't know how much that means to me to be able to have this dream come true for me. And it's all because of them. So I just want to give a huge shout out to everybody filming, everybody doing all of that, because that's how we grow. That's how we are, the players are who they are, is because of them. So huge shout out to them.
I was just gonna say it's incredibly gracious of you, because you're right. There's so many people out on the tour week in and week out just grinding, and it's easy for them to get talked down upon or somebody gets frustrated or a complaint to get thrown around because something's not perfect, from a viewer or from a player perspective. But everything you just said, so incredibly gracious and kind of you to recognize all those people out there. Johnny and I feel the exact same about everyone out there week in and week out, trying to provide those opportunities, as you're saying. Well, before we let you go then, in kind of that same light, sponsors, ways people can follow and support you, shout out all those things. We want to make sure the world knows how they can follow you and support you.
Yeah. First, Discraft, been fantastic. You can find all those discs, and I think we got some jerseys dropping pretty quick on the Team Discraft site or the disc golf stuff. Yeah, you pulled it up. And then we got, I always forget. I'm terrible at remembering. We got Dirty Birdie, we got Backstage Organics, we got Squatch, who makes the absolute best bags ever. Awesome. We have Discraft.
Your shoes?
Discrafter. They make some fantastic towels, and the thing cleans the disc really well. I'm missing somebody. Shoes. We're in talks.
Okay.
With a sponsor. So I'm not allowed to officially say anything about that yet.
Okay.
I'm absolutely terrible if I'm forgetting. I know I have 6. How many did I say?
The one that's on your shirt?
Yeah. Backstage Organic.
The people on your shirt.
Hey,
look at your shirt.
Well, foundation. Yeah. I was like, Terry, I don't have one of my shirts with me. I don't know what you're talking about. Foundation. All the milk led me to a victory. That's it. Foundation. Yeah, I'm really wearing the hat too. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. I'm a fan.
We're good at this. We know what's up. Don't worry. We'll help you out.
We're here to help when we can.
Yes. I appreciate that.
All right, Ezra. Again, you're a player favorite among the players. You clearly continue to
And the
gain a
fans.
ton of fans as well. Obviously, making a lot of sponsors happy on top of it. You were, even without a win, I think you're making them happy, but extra happy. And we just couldn't be happier for you and more proud of everything you and your brother and what you've both done. But then for you to take yet another level up in your career this last weekend, certainly well deserved. Everybody was waiting for it, and you delivered early already in the season. Now let's see if you can continue to deliver often, as I think plenty of people would love to see. So thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're a busy guy, especially with everything going on, but thanks so much for taking the time to join us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys so much for having me. I've really enjoyed being here.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Take care.
Ezra.
Have a good night. We'll see you in
Good night.
Waco.
Sounds
Good
good.
luck. Ezra Robinson.
Stand-up dude, I hear. Just
He's,
real solid, nice guy.
Because we've interviewed and talked to his brother a number of times.
We've talked to him before as well.
Exactly, but you can tell. Great family, great human, great people that they roll with. And, if they say you are the company you keep, I don't know if I need to get rid of you or not. No, I'm just kidding. You're still here. You're still here. But
I'm the guy.
they do a good job.
I control the camera. Can I get rid of your picture? Hold on.
Put a peach pirate over my face.
Oh, if only I could.
All right. No,
Jeez.
seriously, of course. Congrats. A 4-letter name that starts with E, ends with A, FPO and MPO, Ella, Ezra, both taking it down this weekend.
Okay.
I
guess that's something.
That's something.
That's
My brain's just working overtime here.
wow. And that's what you came up with. Okay. We're going to talk a little bit quickly
I don't get
here.
paid well for overtime.
No, you
That's
don't.
all I get.
We're going to talk a little bit about some of the other losers. Sorry,
The
losers.
first non-winners.
They're losers. Sorry. Second place, Anthony Barella, as we talked about with Ezra, just 6 strokes. I know AB was shooting like an 11 first round, I believe, and then he came out with like a 9 or something. Even if he comes out with a 9, he ties Ezra. Like Ezra just was on another level. So AB, although he didn't shoot his ideal golf, he would have had to shoot some really damn good golf in order to keep up with Ezra.
I will say this. I know closing up shop on Saturday night in the booth, I thought, he shoots another like 8 or 9, maybe a 10, which seemed very doable for him in the way he had played.
A 9 or a 10.
Yeah, you're
10 would've
thinking,
won
okay,
it.
he's probably got this. So, yeah, like you said, to still see the 12, again, dynamics could have played out different and everything without that early triple bogey. But, I think a lot of people, myself included, thought, well, I mean, come on, AB's got 3 strokes, and he's looking unflappable, right?
He was up until that.
He was looking so good. It's not like he squeaked into a 3-stroke lead. He looked commanding, not missing a single C1X putt at that point. Go on.
Yeah. No, you're 100% right. Third place, Paul Macbeth, the guy we had on last week, the guy who I said maybe the scariest person you want to look back and see on your card, and I think Ezra confirmed that. Unfortunately, though, tripped out of the gate. Took, as we heard, a double and a single, which really just took all the air out of Paul Macbeth winning this event. After those 2 holes, it was really just, can Paul stay on the podium? And that's just where it came down to. So Paul took third place, besting Ricky by 2 strokes. There was, as we said, the little sub battle between those two, and whether or not, I'm sure the 2 of them felt it, but it was made clear on the broadcast that there was talks about it. Everybody was probably thinking it. It's been a while since we've seen Paul and Ricky on the lead card. So congratulations to Paul, besting Ricky by 2 strokes. Ricky in 4th place at 20 under par. Kelvin, 5th place. Kelvin went on a heater 8 in a row through the front 9. Well, technically through the front 10. He got 3 through 10. And then just 17 bit him. Again, not that it mattered. He wasn't winning this event with the way Ezra was shooting, but I'm sure he wouldn't have mind jumping up into that 4th, maybe even 3rd place spot with a little bit of with a course record had he not stumbled on 17. A tie for 6th place between Kyle Klein, Simon Lizotte, Jake Mon. Jake is just... Didn't Jake just make a post that he's not touring this year? I think I saw something how he's not touring. I think Ryan is, but Jake isn't.
Maybe not as heavily.
Yeah, I believe there was something on Instagram or something that maybe he had posted that he's not doing the full tour this year, and that just. But anyway, and maybe I'm confusing him with somebody else. But I thought that's what I saw was Jake was not going to be touring this season as much as he had in the past. But
well, I'll take a quick look.
That's a long schedule, so I'm clearly wrong.
Schedule: Waco, Austin, Music City, Kansas City.
Never mind then. That
Champions Cup.
I'm clearly confusing him with somebody else.
Yeah,
so.
must be because it looks like he's doing anything and everything, including going to Europe for the festival and for the World Championships.
Yeah, he's definitely got that list down. So Jake Mon in 6th place. Jake Mon was, as of today, when free agency runs, the most heavily picked up player on Skip Ace. A lot of people skipped past him while drafting,
and then went back,
and now are going back and put him on waivers. And I think I saw there was like 58 people that were trying to pick up Jake Mon this week. Him and I had it pulled up who the FPL player was, but I can't recall right now.
Rebecca Cox maybe jumped out.
Macy,
probably.
Macy, it was Macy. Yes, you're right. Sorry, Macy Villadiaz was the second most, and I think there was like 8 or 9. And granted, not every league plays with FPL players, so I think there are 8 or 9 different leagues trying to grab her on their team. So congratulations. 9th place tie between Adam Hammis and Austin Turner to top it out. I think something we're going to see a lot of this year, just based on our discussions and their team, a lot of Discraft in the top 10. And I'm sure Discraft doesn't mind. They're hopefully laughing their way to the bank. But it's get used to it, people. They've got such a deep team this year. They've got the deepest team. Yeah,
I mean when they've added a few of the players they have, one being Ricky Wysocki, one of the front runners at so many events, and then adding of course the likes of an Ezra, who also has proven he can go out and win. So
Jake Wolf was I'm sorry, thank you. It was Jake Wolf that had talked about not touring this year, not Jake Mon. Thank you very much, Darren.
I don't know if there's anything else with regard to the Supreme Flight Open.
Ed brings it up on the board. James Proctor had to DNF due to a shoulder injury. Hopefully, we wish obviously nothing but the best for James. I know he's getting to the point where I think he was saying that he doesn't know if he's going to be touring again after this year. That it might just be time to kind of settle down and be looking at more regional events and things like that. So hopefully he's going to recover sooner than later. Not miss too many events, if any. We can cross our fingers because he's one of the best putters on tour and a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, so good luck to him as well. And then we just touched on a moment ago Sullivan Tipton, who could bust out a win on any given weekend, any given time as well. And let's hope that he's fully on the road to recovery. I'm just trying to think if there was any other things that are of mentioning from the Supreme Flight Open. As we talked about at the top of the show, just phenomenal weather, very much blessed with that. We got our first playoff in of the year. And then really just the 2 weeks to Waco, which has been customary over these last few years, where we have an opening event, and then it's usually 2 weeks later is when Waco. And for the longest time, it was the Memorial was the opening event. 2 weeks later would be Waco. And now we've been in Florida for a couple years. 2 weeks later also being Waco. So next stop, Waco. And again, side note for me, myself, Nate Doss, and Valerie, not really in the booth too much until I think Nate and Val might be doing Champions Cup on site, but other than that, I don't think I'm in a booth again with them until like June.
Hmm.
And so lots of different teams that we're going to see in here and whatnot over the next couple of months. So sit back and enjoy. Is there anything? Let me check my notes. I was going to say, is there anything else that was?
I'm looking at a few PDGA things right now.
Okay.
Things that it was new as of yesterday, and I hadn't seen it. 2025 PDGA Premier Pros list now available. Something
Ooh,
I've never.
Are we on it?
No, I've never heard of it, which is kind of funny. It's a total of 264 PDGA members, of which we're not part of, Terry. We're part of the PDGA, but not of this 264.
Okay.
Have qualified as PDGA Premier Pros. The PDGA Premier Pros list began in 2004. How have I never heard of this?
Well, because it wasn't previously named Premier Pros.
Oh.
It was named like a touring card it was they've clearly updated the name.
Okay.
And changed it slightly, but it wasn't always called Premier Pros.
Okay, that's maybe why I'm confused.
But it's the same general concept.
All right, I was like, I've never heard of that. The Premier Pro criteria, harder to say than whatever else you had before. I'll say that.
Yep.
PDGA World Champions from 2019 to 2024, USDGC Champions 2019 to 2024, Champions of PDGA Majors, other than the two that are above. I don't know why you'd list USDGC separate. I don't know why you just don't say, like, PDGA Worlds from 2019 to 2020, or why don't you say all majors from 2019 to 2024, but whatever. And then 2024 Elite Series and A-tier winners in MPO and FPO, and player rating of 1,000 above for male or 930 and above for female. Those are your Premier Pros. So there's a different qualifying criteria. It's just a list. It's a list of, hey, these guys are good. Not gonna lie. It's fine. Whatever. And then there's a change to reclassification, which I think is more just a little bit of PDGA bookkeeping, so to speak, if you want to change your classification from what you signed up from. Like if again, I think I'm MP40, technically MPO, I'm technically Pro. If I wanted to go and do AM, they're
yeah, it looks like you used to have to wait
5
years, and now it's down to 3 years.
Yep.
To possibly get reclassified as an amateur.
Yep.
So you can find that information on the PDGA's website. All available. Quick side note, and a good one at that, is that our friend who still listens to the show all these years later, even though he moved away from our particular area, Will Miller and his wife.
He's just
Ann,
down the road in Madison.
Yeah, they're a little ways away. But Will Miller and his wife Ann welcoming in their second child.
Is that like Hole 7 guy then?
Yeah, exactly. He's famously known as Hole 5 guy because he sponsored Hole 5 and then created a bunch of costumes and other fun things to go along with that in the Milwaukee area for quite a few years. Moved to Madison a number of years ago, is a head brewer somewhere. But Benjamin Fox Miller was born on March 2nd. And a quick side note, my sister doesn't listen, but my sister's birthday today as well. So happy birthday to her. Anyway. So
Tammy?
Congrats. Yeah.
Happy
Congrats
birthday, Tammy.
to Will and Ann, his wife, for their second child. I think he still listens from time to time, so I want to get it in there.
Him and I were chatting just the other day.
Oh, well, there you go.
I mean, it was Skip Ace related, but that's what happens.
All right. Well, with that, I think we could close out our regular show, and then we could jump into any other random odds and ends come at the after show. But in terms of actual business, yeah, a night with Steve Dodge and Ezra Robinson.
Can't argue
Sounds
with
like a good
can't
night.
argue with that night. The only thing I want to mention is something we don't always mention during the podcast is patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV. We usually mention it in the after show, but if you want to support SmashBoxxTV and the things that Terry and I do here, for as little as $1 a week, you can get access to all sorts of fun stuff. We are actually working on our 2024 discs that we give out to our Patreon supporters. They get a collector's disc at the $3 and up level, but at the $1 and up level, you get access to a giveaway every single week. So patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV.
I like it. Thank you, everyone, for the support. All right, we're going to close out the regular show, what means we stand down just for a few minutes. Then when we come back, we have what we call our after show. That gives you an opportunity to further put a few messages in the YouTube chat, ask questions. We could talk about other random odds and ends and things going on. It might be disc golf related, or it could be completely unrelated to disc golf. That's all part of the after show. If you're crazy enough, stick around for it. It might be entertaining or frustrating. Or amusing. It could be a lot of different things. I promise it always is, week in and week out. So for our guest tonight in Steve Dodge with the Smashbox exclusive announcement regarding the robots that will be fighting out there at Maple Hill. We appreciate him for joining us, and your Supreme Flight Open champion, Ezra Robinson, along with Johnny V. I'm the disc golf guy. I'm gonna stand down for a minute. We'll come back in the after show. We'll see you then when you step inside the Smashbox.
Thank you to our $2 and above patrons. Your name is listed below in the credits. If you are interested in being listed as a producer in the Smashbox TV credits and supporting this and other fine podcasts, please visit patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Smashbox TV Podcast 547's After Show.
Not as good as we usually do it, but you know what?
There's one of us that failed. Sure, we'll go with that. We can always blame me. I'm good with that. Welcome in, everyone. It's the After Show. If you've got questions, comments, thoughts, things going on, we could maybe talk about it. Let's talk about it. Coffee talk.
Coffee talk. Did you watch the SNL 50?
I saw the majority. I saw most of it. Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
We
watched it live like a couple weeks ago. It was good.
I feel like I was probably still overseas, and I think I downloaded a bunch of the clips and then consumed them. Via the YouTubes. One other thing, we hadn't talked about it. I don't think at any point. Now I'm gonna look it up. I don't think I'll give you a hint. It's, I'm gonna assume, a relatively recent movie.
That's not
a little bit of a, I don't know if thriller is quite the word. Yeah, suspense thriller. Is there a difference between suspense and thriller? Are those interchangeable when it comes to the? Okay, I call it more of a thriller than a suspense. And it stars Jason Bateman.
Game Night.
No.
Newer. That one's like 15 years old. I know.
Yeah. Much newer. I don't know how new, but much newer. And
did you watch it on a plane?
I watched it on a plane, which might not have been the best idea because it's plane hijacking related.
Oh, all right.
So of all, I don't know. Not that I'm. It is okay. It is,
and with the issues we've had with planes recently.
Yeah. So 2024's Carry On.
I saw previews for that. It didn't look like anything I was really in. Like that. That's a perfect plane movie where you're like, I got nothing. All right, I'll watch this, and then.
Yeah, it was meh.
Okay.
Do you recognize any of the? Okay, yeah, Dean Norris. He's
Dean Norris from Breaking Bad.
Yeah, from Breaking Bad. Do you recognize any of these other stars outside of Jason Bateman then?
No.
Yeah, I didn't really either. Yeah.
Nope.
And then Dean Norris, who was one of the main characters in Breaking Bad. But yeah, it was. Again, I'll go meh.
Okay.
It was meh.
You're not watching Severance yet, right?
No.
That's the hottest show on TV.
No.
Which
so I'll get on board in about 2 years.
Yeah. I'm a few weeks behind because my wife just decided, she's like, we were sitting around and she looked at me, she goes, you can watch Severance without me. Which is weird because we're into whatever the second season, like a couple episodes in, she's watched them all. It's just, she doesn't find it as enthralling as a lot of people do, including myself. I enjoy it quite a bit. So the good thing is I'll be able to kind of just burn through that now. So yeah.
Will I like it?
Yes, you'll love it. You'll enjoy it quite a bit. Do you know the premise at all?
No.
These people voluntarily decide that they are going to kind of separate their brain, in that when they go to work, it's like a whole different person. They don't know anything about their outside life from work. The outside work people don't know anything about their inside from work. And that's just how it is. So you make all these friends with people inside of work, and you have no clue if you run into them outside of work or how it works. And, relationships inside of work happen that, aren't outside. And then there's a whole mystery behind it. I think you'd enjoy it quite a bit.
Okay. So, good to know.
Yeah. It's an Apple TV thing. So, I mean, it's.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm too broke for that. So, one of the things I also then kind of randomly came across and was outdated from was the fact that Squid Game, excuse me, had season 2 out.
Yep.
And so my follow-up to that is, because I feel like I watched, I guess I'd have to scroll and double check, but I feel like I've watched 5 out of the 7 episodes. So my question is that all of the episodes that are there and will be there? Is there another,
I think,
section, or are they going to go right into a? Did I just see a season 3?
They're doing a season 3, which I think they said is going to
Okay.
be the final season. I haven't watched any of it. I don't know, but it doesn't interest me. Like, it seems like something that would interest me if you just laid it out. But maybe because there was so much hype behind the first season.
Yeah, which I watched way again after the fact.
Yeah, and I'm just, to me, it's like I'm beyond it now.
It's definitely interesting.
I caught bits and pieces. You catch highlights on social media and whatever.
I'd be curious to know, and as we just saw, if they're making season 3, I'd be curious to know if season 2 has been as well received, because I think it was just so shocking to the system and so unique in season 1.
I agree.
That I feel like now even I had apprehension about season 2, being like, okay, what are they going to do now? I mean, it was so crazy in season 1. I just feel like if you're going essentially with the same premise or a similar premise, how much can it still be as good? But it's been all right.
Okay, from what I saw, the winner from season 1 comes back to do season 2 and try to get revenge or something. I don't know. That's as much as I know.
Yeah, it's been all right.
Spoilers.
I'd be curious to know if anyone else has a strong opinion on it one way or another. But it does make for good long plane ride. Consumption when you can download. I guess it's like any other binge watching, but when you're in a plane for whatever reason, that's when I watch all my movies and main shows. So that's what I was consuming. I should look and see what else I actually watched, because I did watch quite a few things.
One of the things we're excited, Shoresy is back, I think, as of today.
Yeah.
Have you watched it at all? You watched Letterkenny though, right?
Most of it, but certainly not all of it.
Shoresy's like the spin-off of Letterkenny.
Okay.
So it's same actor who plays the main guy in Letterkenny plays this guy Shoresy, who's a hockey player. Okay. And so I'm Sarah, my wife Sarah and I are gonna probably sit down and binge through Shoresy in about a night or two, because they're short. They're like 20-minute episodes. They're normal 22 or whatever. Hulu, there's probably 6 of them on the whole season, so we'll get through that. But that's. So today, I pull into gas station on my way home. One right down the street from our house, the Sendix. And I was frustrated because traffic was awful on my way home. So I pull in, and I have my blinker on because I want to make like almost like a very hard right
and there's this person sitting there like waiting for me to make a move, even though they're like in my right turn area, and I'm just sitting there like, yeah, come on.
Are you on Port Washington coming north? What do you mean? Where are you?
Yeah, Port Washington going north because I had to
get into the
Sendic.
Yes.
So I had to make like a really hard, like almost a horseshoe 90-degree turn to get there. And so I'm waiting, frustrated. And like finally, I like wedge my way around this person who then just drives away. And I'm like, you couldn't have, whatever. I pull up, I back into, I had to kind of wedge around back into where I'm getting gas. And then I look behind me, and all I see is like real close the grill of a truck. And I'm in a shorter car. This truck was jacked up.
Jacked
up.
I think that's how you got to say it.
Do you have to say it like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I did jacked. Listen,
up.
I'm the one that went to a monster truck rally a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
So
Just saying, certain things have to have certain emphasis.
And I was like, oh, that's a big truck, which I don't see a lot. I mean, growing up and living in Wisconsin, we see a lot of trucks. I think the Ford F-150 is the most popular vehicle in the Midwest. But this was some Chevy, whatever. I didn't get that close. But it was like, I mean, it was jacked up. And I was like, wow. The door opens as I'm out pumping gas. A step ladder, not like this one like kind of folds down out of the seat. This guy has a separate step ladder that he's got to drop out of his truck. Like he kind of bent over and dropped it maybe a foot or two, and then stepped down from his truck. He had to use all technically 2 steps, but and I was thinking like he came out. He was a slightly older gentleman, maybe in his 50s.
Okay,
and all I was thinking is like,
you're still going through all that.
Yeah. Like, if you can't just step out of your vehicle, maybe it's time to get a different vehicle. Like, if you're younger and you can hop down or jump up, or you're using the rails on the side. The runners, the rails on the side. I get that. But when you have to carry a separate, literal, like, step stool to get out of your truck, I'm thinking it's like maybe
mentally keeps him young.
That's fine, I guess. I'm just thinking maybe at some point you might want to think, keep the truck, lower it back down, like or get
put some hydraulics.
Put some hydraulics on it. So you can bounce it down like Dr. Dre, and just lower that thing so you can just, and then you can step out. But I just thought it was funny that like, it took him forever too because I'm pumping gas. I was almost done. He'd pulled up as I walked out of my car. Well, technically, he pulled up, and then I got out of my car because I saw the thing behind me, and he didn't get out. I'm pumping my gas. I fill up my tank, and that's when he opened it up, and I saw like this step stool just like drop out of the car or the truck, and I was like, and I watched him get out. I was like, damn, that's okay. I got a kick out of that today. And
I was gonna say, well, maybe he's just like borrowing it from his son, but then they probably wouldn't like have a step stool in it. I was thinking, well, maybe it's somehow not his. But if you're rolling around with a step stool, then it feels like you're pretty committed at that point. You're
committed to the. You're committed to the.
He's a truck guy and forever will be. And
if you want to be stereotypical, he had a couple like phrases printed on the side of the truck and on the front of it, just
were any of them racist?
No, they were not. They were not overtly racist.
Like obviously racist.
Nope, not at all. Just more like I'm a truck guy till I die kind of thing.
See, now that fits. That's what I'm thinking.
I'm okay with that. We grew up around trucks. I would love to have. I'm never going to own a truck, but I would love to have one just because I like to haul wood or whatever at Home Depot, things like that. But if I need to do that, I would rather rent the $25 truck for the day or for the couple hours that I need it versus paying the expense of a truck. But in general, that's just my lifestyle. I don't judge anyone that has one. I just thought it was very funny. This particular truck of all things, I was like, all right, well, maybe it's time to lower your truck, sir.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Yeah. He rolls right over you. Then
I wish I would have hung around long enough to see how he got back in.
And then retrieve
it because when he got out, he put the step stool back in. So it seems like he has an easier time getting in than getting out because he didn't leave the step stool there after he got out. He put it back in his car. Now that I think about it,
yeah. So he just
able to kind of
steps up,
be able to pull himself up, but maybe getting down.
I don't know. That's where gravity helps me, but I'm a bigger guy. So
you ain't
gravity
wrong.
always helps.
You ain't wrong,
huh? Speaking of cars bumping, we were blessed that Bevel Beer decided to have a 90s dance party.
They probably scheduled that around your visits.
They did consider when I was going to be there.
That's
apparently.
what I thought.
And
not a
just
lie.
such a good time.
Did they have a DJ or did they get?
Yeah, so DJ is one of the Bevel co-owners in Justin.
Okay.
And so he's got full playlist. They have like legitimate speakers, the whole 9 yards for their patio. And they've continued to have these throughout the winter in Oregon, Central Oregon. And some have been hit with some success and some lighter attendance. Okay. I think Val said one of the nights when it was cold out, shocker, it was like the Bevel employees, and that was about it. Right?
All right. Because
they're outside in a bigger, we'll say 20 by 20 tent now. I'd say it's about a 20 by 20 tent with some heaters and whatnot. And they've had various themes. They've had 80s night. They had, I think, disco night. They've had a couple different themes throughout. Now, it was absolutely gorgeous on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday out in Bend this last week. So that certainly played into this. However, their 90s dance party on Saturday night, I think they said easily surpassed all of their other previous dance parties in the last 4 months combined was the turnout for this one. And it was awesome because there's also kids there. Mm-hmm. Some adults are bringing their kids. It's only open till 9 or 10 o'clock, and it's very kid-friendly place to be. And then there's a food cart, it's a food cart pod, as they call it. So there's 4 different places where you can get food right there, all right behind the brewery. All 90s, all night, and the dance floor and beyond was bursting at the seams the entire 4 hours. And if you get a chance to get yourself out to Bevel during anytime, you got to go, but especially when there's going to be any form of dance party. This one hit the hardest. Maybe there's a theme they just need to stick with. I don't know if you can have a 90s theme every single time you have one once a month or whatever, but it was a good time. So thank you to everyone out there having fun. We had some disc golfers out there. There was an event that took place in that area as well. So there were some disc golfers that came over, as they always do. Sharon Jenkins was there. Val's mom was there hanging out, having a good time. It was awesome. So check the calendar when you're heading out to Bevel, because it could be another thing to add on to have some fun. And last night at Ope Brewing was the final night for the Winter Putting League that took place. It was more of a gathering and giving away of some prizes and trophies and whatnot, but it was still gathering. And that too had to have 100 people at it last night that came in and out throughout the night. So a lot of fun for the locals here in the Milwaukee area. A couple minutes away from where the Brewers play is the bar that they set up. It's called Ope, like Ope, very Midwestern theme, as you can imagine, and lots of incredible craft beverages that they have there too. So
I'm disappointed that I can't ever make the Monday night Ope thing, because I need to be here to pick up my daughter Monday nights, as my wife is busy until like 6 o'clock. So I would have to.
Yeah, well, next year,
I'm hoping
when it kicks back up, we'll see if we can make stuff happen.
Really hoping so.
So yeah, those are a couple of the cool things that are going on or have been going on. I don't know if I made the announcement last week, but it seems like it's almost official. I haven't signed on the dotted line yet, but I will tomorrow.
New sponsorship?
No.
Oh.
I'm trying to get me an an Isaac Robinson hat, but he just won't.
Stingy.
Yeah,
he probably charges you an extra 10%.
No.
You got a fat head. Sorry, that's extra big.
Very excited that my channel will be teaming up with the folks over at the PDGA to bring you the FP40 action at the Tim Selinsky. And quite often we've seen that Gatekeeper and Ace Run continue to do a ton of stuff for PDGA majors. They're going to be doing a bunch this year, as Ace Run just announced not too long ago. But there were a few holes in the schedule that then allowed the opportunity for my channel to come in and also assist. So I'm excited that I'll be at Tim Selinsky, and we'll be covering the FP40 action every single day as well. So just thought I'd throw that out there. Should be fun. Somebody tried to break into my eBay today. It's always so funny when I get those emails or those text messages that's like, oh, your recovery number is blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I get one for Facebook every once in a while. I get one for eBay. There was another one I just got a couple days ago. Whatever it was. Somebody called me. I remember this. Somebody called me last week when I was at my daughter's volleyball game, and they were going, they were telling me they were the local Spectrum. They were the local internet provider.
Okay.
And they called me and they said, hey, this is so-and-so from Spectrum. And, we understand that a lot of our customers have been really upset with some stuff lately. And in order to fix that, we'd like to give you a 30% discount.
Oh, it's a scam right there.
And I said, sounds great. Go ahead and apply that to my account. Just give me the 30% off. I'll see it on the next bill. Can't wait. Thank you. So, no, sir. In order to do that, blah, blah, blah. We just sent you something, and you just need to read me those numbers, and then we can apply we can apply it to your bill.
Okay.
They were clearly sending me the reset numbers to try and break into my account.
Yeah.
Rather than being, legit. It's.
And you are familiar with this because you have had it tried to happen before, where they try to get the numbers for your reset, your email to PIN or whatever.
Yeah.
And
yeah. And right there within the text message, it always says like, Spectrum will never ask for this number.
Yes.
And I'm like, hey, idiots! Like, I'm just reading the text you allegedly sent me, where it says they will never ask for this number, but they're trying to reset it. And I'm just thinking, what are you going to get into my credit card? I guess is stored there. It must be.
They could
why else are you getting?
They could probably try to order something off of eBay under your name or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
lock you out of your account, change the sending address, and maybe buy something. I don't know. I mean, again,
is that what you do? Scammers are ridiculous.
All right, so we have to talk a little bit about it.
We don't have to.
You're right.
I don't know what you're talking about.
We don't have to, but we probably will here.
Okay.
DGBT media policy.
Oh, sure.
We saw this week there's a little controversy in two different things from the DGBT side. One is apparently Disc Golf World not being given a media pass.
Okay.
And the other is Simon Lizotte didn't seem upset about it, but I'll say this.
He clarified.
And if he mentioned it, you can probably tell maybe it's on his mind, is my guess. Not allowed to use his fancy camera on the course. He's got to use his cell phone. Because he apologized that maybe the quality wasn't going to be as good as his normal blogs.
Sure.
Any hot takes on this? I mean, the DGBT has been restricting for players and spectators, just so I can lay that out, DSLRs and bigger cameras for 2 or 3 years now. Should the players have an exemption for this? Or
Yeah, so I'll just say one thing that has been interesting to me in seeing some of these posts, a lot of people for, a lot of people against, some people understand, some people don't. There's nothing new that I know of in terms of what the policy is. As you just said, it's been more than a couple of years. It's been ever since really the Pro Tour has reset, 4 or 5 years ago now. Any detachable lenses, essentially, anything with a detachable lens, anything that's basically quote unquote bigger or better than your phone, you're not allowed to use. That is not new.
No.
I think there's just people being made aware of the policy. I think a lot of people are assuming then that it's a new policy. It's not. It is the policy that's been in place for fans, for spectators. I guess those are usually the same, and spectators, and then even the players as well. Now, I hear and see the argument about Simon's got a massive following, what he's doing is good, so on and so forth. Like he said, he's just restricted to not having anything more elaborate, maybe is a good word, elaborate than using your cell phone. That's just been the policy. And I think so many people are just hearing about it for the first time, and that's why they feel like it's a new policy when it's not. I saw the post somewhere that Disc Golf World had also posted and saying that I'm
They were denied media credentials.
Denied or didn't get it, or however it was exactly phrased, media credentials. And then, of course, there's plenty of people that said, that's BS. We hate it. Nobody should be able to dictate that. You guys have a channel. You guys have a growing channel that's doing a lot of stuff, a lot of good stuff. And then the very flip side of that is people saying, you effed around and found out. And then people that were probably naysayers of the channel. And everything in between. And
to be clear, their channel tends to be a little bit more clickbaity. They're a little more hot takes. They have their videos. While I'll say this, while some of the media, ourselves, Ultaworld, things like that, get a lot of inside scoops and usually sit on them, waiting for things like announcements to go on, they don't really seem to be under that type of category. If they hear that Ezra is going to Discraft, they're going to say it. And that's their right. I'm not faulting them. Everybody has a different methodology as to how they want to handle their channels. But they are a little bit more on the hot take side of media.
Yeah, and they continue to point out things that have been either flaws or challenges or discrepancies or whatever, whether it be on the tour or some challenges with players or whatever the case might be. My only response to that, to any of that, would be in that regard is there's the policy that they've had, that the Pro Tour has had for media, and as much as we'd like to be, say everybody that's doing media is invited and is welcome, I'm guessing that some line just got drawn somewhere, and whether that's a new line or an old line or what the reasons are, that I have absolutely no insight in. Here's what I can tell you. If I personally showed up to a Disc Golf Pro Tour event and I wasn't working that weekend with the Pro Tour, either in the booth or as a sideline reporter, I would go through the same channel to try and have to gain media access or media pass or whatever the case may be. I too am subject to all of that. And my point being is that everyone is subject to that. And the Pro Tour has only allowed so many people at so many events. And so I don't think it's fair for those that have said, and some of the responses I've read, that have said, well, you're disc golf media, so therefore you should be allowed to be there. Just as a blanket statement. You got to draw a line somewhere, because at some point, if you really extrapolated this out, what happens when we have 40 YouTube channels,
sure,
of varying levels, that all want to show up to an event and be media? You can't give every single person a media pass. And I have no insight, like I said, as to who gets them, why they get them, who doesn't. None of that's my decision, nor is my judgment. But I guess I liken it in some regard that, and it's not a perfect analogy, but I can't go down the road to the Milwaukee Bucks and say, hey, I've got 100,000 subscribers. I've got very good cameras and very good microphones. I would like a media pass. Please grant me one. It's similar but different, right? You can't give media access to absolutely everybody, even if their intentions are good. There's just a limited supply. And now people have made the argument as to what those guys have been doing and how they've been grinding it out and have done a ton of events. And maybe that's going to change. I didn't see any other context. I don't know if they can't go to any events or only some events, or I don't know about any of that. But I guess we'll wait and see, because I'm sure there's other people that have applied in some capacity, possibly, and have been turned down. I'm sure of it.
And to be fair, their content could be done from the road. They don't need to be. They don't need to
some
have
of it. I would assume. I'm pretty sure they talk to players and such on
100%. No. I'm just saying. I mean, if you have those contacts with players, you can still contact the player and talk with them. You're just not talking to them on the course, because a lot of the videos that I've seen, and I'm going to be fair, I think I've watched 3 totals of their videos. I just don't consume a lot of other disc golf media other than live and a little bit of Instagram. It's like the same video on repeat with them talking over it. I felt like I think I recognize the same couple shots. It's like they have a certain set bunch of shots, and then they play over it. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they were going to update it this year. I don't know. I truly don't know. But I'm curious to see what the media looks like this year. I have no problem with them not allowing Simon to have a DSLR, that he's got to use a phone. Phones are so good these days. It doesn't even really matter.
Well, and that's what some people make the argument in that regard of,
Like,
if a phone is
the
such
other
good
way.
quality, why don't you just let them have the DSLR?
Because there is a line. There's a line between removable lens and not. Like that's a distinction. What distinction you have that's a smaller DSLR. That's okay. And then suddenly, as you say, you come with one of your fancy cameras, even though the lenses aren't removable, but like you come with like a shoulder mount one with a giant DSLR, like you're a professional camera. Like I'm sorry, but like at least the phone to DSLR line is distinct.
Yeah.
And the quality there is blurry, but I understand, and I have no personal problem with them enforcing a set of rules and saying, whatever. And I don't think Simon's upset about it. His videos are going to do the same number. They're going to look just as good. And
custom course maps on the thing says, who else has been denied? I don't know, because I'm not part of that process, but I would be willing to put down money that other people have asked for media credentials at some various events and have been turned down. And I'm probably a myriad of reasons.
And I'm fairly certain this is just during the event. Like his practice rounds, probably fine to have on there. His whatever. Like this is literally just from when he tees off to when he putts out.
Yeah, and then Course Maps also then says other than Simon.
I'm sure there are pros that have maybe asked and they've said no.
Yeah,
stick with,
I'll
stick
tell
with the
you
phone.
right now. Like AB has a camera just like mine. Ezra Aderhold, I think, has a camera just like mine in terms of a camcorder. None of those guys are allowed to then use those during the rounds. Like that's just the standing rule. Simon's bringing it maybe more to light by mentioning it because he had somebody else there filming for him. Like that that also, I don't want to say makes it even more obvious, but yeah, it kind of does. You're adding at that point. Just think if all four players showed up with semi-professional gear with their caddies all four players on the card show up with a caddy, and all four of those caddies are also then doing some form of filming. You don't think things will just get that much more congested everywhere?
Yeah. No, I'm with it.
That's why they're trying to limit that. I get it. There's a lot of arguments saying, hey, these people will bring more eyeballs, and I understand all of that argument. What I'm just trying to say is it's been the policy really from day one. None of this is new in terms of the equipment that you're allowed to use. That's what I'm trying to.
Bob Goyke says on the board, Robert Goyke, courtesy violation podcast was denied media credentials as well, at least according to him. So it's probably another podcast. Again, we're not alone. I think protecting the LGBT product is legit, says Custom Course Maps, wondering if rules are applied evenly. That's a good question that we don't have an answer to. Like, I'm assuming, knowing the people at the Pro Tour, that they are applied relatively evenly.
I'll tell you this. If any player, clearly if it's happening to Simon, if any player showed up to Waco and their caddy had I'll just use for the lack of a better term, a fancy camera and was trying to film, I promise you every single player in the entire field would be told, hey, you can't use that. Your caddy or you can't be filming with that during the round. So even if you're asking if it's applied evenly, it 100% is.
2 or 3 years ago, I remember being on the calls for the broadcasts, and you would hear the guys in the background be like, they would call someone like, hey, we've got a guy on hole 7. He snuck in, or he brought in his big camera. Someone's got to go talk to him and address this. Like, this has been going on for a while. So yeah. Anyway, just that's kind of the news that's been floating around as far as the media stuff, we'll say, on the socials.
Yeah, and yeah, just to be clear on that, as Johnny was just saying, if you have some really nice, you're a professional photographer, and you want to show up and just take pictures, same thing. I believe the media policy states at the events that you're not allowed to bring those in and use those. And plenty of people have been pulled aside. These are random fans or spectators, and they could be hundreds of feet away from the action. They're pulled aside and they're said, hey, you're not allowed to be shooting photos unless you have a media badge.
Yeah.
Same thing. There's been photographers that have been denied media passes and media badges as well. I've seen that happen throughout the years. So a lot of this isn't necessarily new, but maybe it's just coming to light with some more higher profile people.
Sure.
And if you want to argue about like the policy itself, you can have that argument. I'm kind of just saying, here's what the rule is.
I'm not stepping into that
that's
argument.
I see both sides.
I don't make the rules, so.
Yeah. You certainly see both sides.
But I'm a fan of following the rules.
Yeah, I'm a rule breaker myself.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
I could be.
You used to be, but you're old now.
I used to be.
You used to live.
I just get in line now. That's all I do.
You're just one of the sheep.
Yeah,
you're just a sheeple, Terry.
That's all I am. That makes sense. All right. I don't know if there's any other notes out there, or one thing I'll try to do, and this probably won't apply to most of you if you're listening live at the moment. But maybe with that Ezra interview, I'd like to break it out, and I'll do one of those just the interview things.
That's a great idea.
I grab just the actual interview with just him. So even though this has been on for almost 3 hours tonight, the interview with Ezra, which probably went about an hour if I had to guess, we'll bust that out as something separate for you guys to consume, or if somebody wanted to go back and watch just that. I don't have too much more. I'm scrolling down and seeing if there was anything else on my list of notes. I don't really see much. If you need any, my disc in a box, I am fully restocked on those. I think I mentioned that last week, but I'm currently restocked and ready to get those shipped out. Thank you to all those that continue to purchase those and pick those up.
And if you want to do Skip Ace, we're still obviously open for registrations. You can create leagues anytime during the season, but most people do it beforehand. Everything seems to be working well now. There was a little bit of a fire on Friday, Saturday, a little bit of Sunday. I'm going to put this in the newsletter I send out, but you know those football players, we see it like every couple of years, that just have that free run into the end zone and they drop the ball at the 1 yard line. Like, that's how I felt this weekend. Everything was great. Thursday night, I make like a decision like, I should really do something because I think these processes are going to run a little bit hot on this computer with all the users I'm going to get and the live scoring now. I'm just going to make this little change.
Okay, good idea.
Oh, great idea, Terry. Oh, it's a great idea. Because once that change was made, it was very difficult to go backwards, and because I had some things set up, and it just cascaded for. I bet you I coded this weekend for 25 hours. Just. Yeah, it was a blast. But everything's working. Everything's great now. Live scoring. We just released live scoring for any league, not just the draft league. So it doesn't matter what league you're in. And yeah, it's out there. So you can sign up. Sign up for a pro subscription, and you get access to our OTB event matchups where they do a $25 gift certificate. They donate that, and the winner will get that gift certificate every single event. Our next one's for Waco. It's $10 for the entire year, and you've got what 22 probably. So how many?
You could get rich.
How many of our events you have a chance to win that $25, and you get access to a bunch of extra stats and things that most people don't see. So that is where we're at with Skip Ace.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right, let's give away some free stuff to one of our incredible supporters via Patreon. Johnny's got all of the names downloaded that have been. Signing up and ready to go.
Yeah, I sorted them by address.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so some people don't have an address, so you get sorted towards the bottom if you know how Excel and sorting works. But patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV, or you can go to SmashBoxx.TV/weekly giveaways. You can sign up. We've got a couple people that do that every single week. Weekly giveaways. And you could be eligible for this giveaway. We have 109 people eligible for our giveaway, Terry.
I like it.
What are we going to do?
We're going to go.
That's the wrong one.
We said just how crucial it was to be a 4-letter name this weekend. Ezra and Ella. So I think we got to go with 4. Do dig all the way into the fourth number.
The fourth number
Generated will be our
All
winner.
right. Our first number we're generating is 13. Second number is 34. Third number is 84.
Oh, they keep rising.
Is the last one going to be higher or lower than 84, Terry?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's going to be higher.
All right. We're going to keep going up. He says our fourth and final number,
102.
78. It went down. You were wrong.
Of
78.
78's the
You're
number.
not right very often until you're exactly right.
Yeah, until that one time.
Until the one time you were exactly right. 78. Let me look that. So, scroll up just a little bit. Tyler Helmke. Tyler Helmke. Thank you
Sweet.
very much, Tyler. He does not have an address in there. He is a $2 patron. So, congratulations, Tyler. We will work on getting you a disc from
Awesome.
from one of our stashes.
Oh, yeah. I think I've got one maybe
do
all
you?
lined up even.
Oh,
might.
look at
I
that,
might.
Terry. So
yeah.
congratulations. Thank you very much for being a supporter. And thanks to everybody who supports us. It truly does help every week. And we're able to keep doing this. We're able to keep the lights on. We're able to repeatedly show up in my basement every Tuesday. Otherwise, Terry, it's really weird and creepy when he shows up here and it's not Tuesday. I'm not going to lie.
And I'm just like, hey, turn on your
Hi,
computer and your
hi.
camera. I got stuff to do.
Those lights. You have fast internet. Can I play?
Exactly. So thank you, everyone, for all of the support. We appreciate you. All right, I think that's it. We're going to call it. I'm going to have to send Tyler an email to double check that we have a, well, not to double check, but to initially check that I've got an address for him so that
Sure.
we can make sure to get some stuff out to him. So if you want, you can always put your address into the little Patreon stuff. That just eliminates one extra step, but or don't, whatever you want. We appreciate your support. Oh, look at all those. I just scrolling down the list, looking at all those wonderful individuals. We appreciate you. All right, with that, thank you yet again to Steve Dodge and Ezra Robinson during our regular show. Congrats to both of them for different reasons, but congrats to both of them.
Both of them are throwbacks.
And Johnny V and myself, the Disc Golf Guy. We appreciate you guys, and looking forward, we'll talk to you next week. We won't have necessarily an event to recap, but we've got plenty of information to provide.
There's a few events going on next weekend,
Just
though.
not
So
Pro
there's City of
Tour.
Mobile
Just not a pro tour. You're
and
right.
the first Go Throw event.
Oh, yeah. Cancer Playbook, I
Yep.
think, is taking place.
There we go. So we'll
So
have things to talk about.
There'll be stuff to talk about. There always is. If there's not,
We'll make
we'll
stuff
talk
up.
anyway. For Johnny V, I'm the Disc Golf Guy. We'll see you next week when you step inside the Smashbox.